Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. You will become stronger when you are exposed to the sun. I will be the best for eternity. Chapter 41. Feng Chengtian stood in front of Chen Fan, standing with his hands behind his back. Chen Fan, you are very powerful. I also remember your name. You are the only person whose name I can remember, but after entering the talent training camp, I will regain the first place. If ordinary people said these words, others would probably burst into laughter, but when Feng Chengtian said these words, no one laughed, and everyone showed a solemn expression. Obviously they all knew what Feng Chengtian said, and it was not just words. He is really confident of surpassing Chen Fan. In fact, other geniuses also had such thoughts in their minds, but they didn't say it explicitly. Although Chen Fan is dazzling enough now and can be regarded as the #1 genius, his talent is too average after all. Such talent, in the eyes of true geniuses like them, is nothing more than ordinary. As long as they are given enough time, each of them is sure to surpass Chen Fan. Of course, this premise is that Chen Fan will not get any opportunities in the future. Of course, many geniuses are still thinking about another possibility, thinking that people like Chen Fan may have a chance to break through and become a grandmaster in the future. That's why they expressed goodwill to Chen Fan. It could be said that it was just a casual move. If Chen Fan became a grandmaster in the future, they would at least not offend Chen Fan. If they don't become grandmasters in the future, then they won't have any intersection. But they will not stand directly in front of Chen Fan like Feng Chengtian and say without any secret that they want to surpass Chen Fan. You are very sincere, but I also want to tell you that those who have been defeated by me will never see my back again in this life, and they will eventually live in my shadow. Chen Fan made a domineering declaration, showing no signs of intimidation when facing Feng Chengtian, and even took the initiative to say some slightly provocative words. This made the other geniuses frown, thinking that Chen Fan's words were a bit arrogant. Success or failure in the moment does not mean future achievements. Feng Chengtian looked calm and not angry. It's a good thing that you have confidence, but after you experience the cruel reality, you may regret what you said now. Feng Chengtian was personable and looked very majestic. He didn't care what Chen Fan said, he only cared about the goal he insisted on. His goal has never been a small 36 cities, but 10 university palaces. He wants to become the best among the 10 university palaces. He heard that there were many geniuses in the academy who surpassed his own talents. To him, Chen Fan might be just a pebble he met on the road. The geniuses in the academy were his real goals. Of course, if you want to enter the academy, you must first join the genius training camp. The best people there will also be students of the academy in the future. Chen Fan smiled and said nothing, too lazy to argue with Feng Chengtian anymore, because it was meaningless. He will use practical actions to tell Feng Chengtian what is a real genius. I like this character. Maybe I can continue to suppress Feng Chengtian in the future. Ying Baiqi felt that Chen Fan was very interesting at the moment, and he deserves to be the first place in this assessment. Feng Chengtian can be said to be a big mountain weighing on all their geniuses. No one dares to talk to him like this. But Chen Fan has the courage. In this regard, Chen Fan is stronger than most of them here. It's so full of energy. Zijin looked at all this and said with a smile. The other principals and teachers nodded in agreement. Only the female assessor Zhang Lin sighed. I really don't know the heights of the world. How dare an ordinary talent say such arrogant words, and still hope to be able to suppress Feng Chengtian forever? It's simply ridiculous. In less than a year, you will definitely regret what you said today. Maybe it won't be long before you actually join the genius training camp, and you will know what true cruelty is. At this moment, Zijin suddenly said, by the way, there is one thing I almost forgot to inform you. 1 month later, you will participate in the talent selection competition. This is also an assessment for entering the talent training camp. This selection competition will also eliminate geniuses, and the better your performance, the more training resources you will receive after entering the genius training camp. You must be mentally prepared. In this genius assessment competition, you will meet geniuses from other cities. As far as I know, there may be master-level geniuses this time. When the big man finished these words, the whole audience was shocked, and everyone showed expressions of disbelief. Some people even feel like they can't speak out and are in shock. What is a guru? In the past, those with perfect skills were considered masters, but on the road to martial arts, a true master represents absolute power. Every Grand Master can control the rise and fall of a family. For example, in 36 cities, once you become a Grand Master, you can immediately transform into a big family and become a noble directly. A true master can release his true body energy and kill someone's head from 100 meters away. If the older generation can become a Grand Master, everyone can still understand it. If a Grand Master appears in the younger generation, it is simply like listening to a myth. Feng Chengtian's pupils shrank, and then a burning fighting spirit emerged from his body. His whole body seemed to be glowing at the moment. I'd really like to see a Grand Master level genius. Feng Chengtian was extremely confident. He looked like a lunatic who wanted to compete with a real Grand Master genius in the talent selection competition. As for other geniuses, they all feel unprecedented pressure. You must show the style of 36 cities, don't lose face to me, Jinling, and don't be eliminated in the first round. Bahinia warned. He is also a genius who came out from here, so he naturally hopes that his hometown will develop better and better. Everyone nodded, and secretly made up their minds to practice hard this month. Chen Fan, come here. Principal Wang waved to Chen Fan pleasantly. Chen Fan walked over and Principal Wang praised, you did a good job this time. I am very satisfied that our Xingcheng number 1 middle school can produce a talented student like you. Principal, thank you. Chen Fan stood in front of Principal Wang and found that the principal had restrained his powerful energy and looked like an ordinary person. Zhang Lin watched Principal Wang keep praising Chen Fan, but she didn't take it seriously. She even thought it was a pity and a waste. Let an ordinary genius be the first in their Jinling competition, and he would probably lose face in the talent selection competition. Although he felt that Chen Fan was very likely to pass this trial, after all, his strength lay here. But so what if it passes? Aren't you going to be at the bottom of the training camp? Sometimes she really couldn't understand what these teachers were thinking. And those examiners who were presiding with her were simply stupid and wasted this first place. If Jinling continues like this, I'm afraid that the 36 cities of Jinling will become a big joke to other cities, and may even be directly at the bottom of other cities. Then the training resources will be even less. Zhang Lin felt that the future was full of bleakness, and she was full of worries about the fate of her hometown. Teacher Zhang, why do you think so much? A majestic voice suddenly sounded in her ears, and then he saw Zijing in purple robes. Zhang Lin quickly saluted politely and said, I have met Grand Master Z. This important person sent by the academy was about 10 years older than her. He was ranked 3rd in the warrior assessment, but she still had an impression. Actually, your worries are completely unnecessary. Even if you have an ordinary talent, it doesn't matter. Maybe Chen Fan can create miracles. Zijin seems to be very optimistic about Chen Fan. Zhang Lin said, but the genius we produced from Jinling back then was equally astonishing and brilliant, hadn't he not yet broken through to become a martial artist? You are talking about Junior Zhang I. Zijin knew who she was talking about as soon as she heard it. Senior brother Zhang has indeed not broken through to the master level yet, and he has not joined one of the 10 academic palaces in the end, but it is said that the ordinary academy he has joined now has a top Grand Master who is very optimistic about him and is searching for genius treasures for him. Although talent does hinder Junior Zhang, as long as he has enough talents and treasures, his achievements will definitely be higher than mine. Quote. Zhang Lin showed a surprised expression when she heard these words. There was a great master in front of me, and he actually said such a thing. Is it possible that Zhang Ai's talent is really so terrifying? But why were the big shots in the 10 Academy Palace so angry that they removed her father from his position? She couldn't figure this out. I have also heard about your father. The master of the academy was in a bad mood at that time. He thought he could accept a top genius as his disciple, but he ended up being disappointed, so he was angry with your father. That lord only valued talent level and didn't care about anything else. That's why he was dissatisfied when he learned that Junior Zhang had been unable to break through to Grand Master. Bahinia told such a secret. Zhang Lin lowered her head slightly and felt extremely wrong. Why did her father have to endure such pain? However, I still feel that if an ordinary talent cannot break through a Grand Master, it means that his achievements in life are limited. Real treasures of heaven and earth are extremely precious. Not to mention top grandmasters, even more powerful people may not be able to obtain them. Everything depends on chance. If the chance is not deep enough, you still won't be able to break through. Bohemia nodded slightly and looked at the blue sky. There were a large number of white clouds in the sky, forming various shapes. What you said is correct, but who can say whether we will get a chance in the future? At the same time, Principal Wang, with a red face, promised Chen Fan to reward him with 3 million yuan. Chen Fan might have been very excited when he heard this number before, but now he was very calm. This little money is nothing to a powerful warrior. Zhang Zhengguo was also extremely happy, feeling that he had unearthed a real dragon. Even if Chen Fan could not be ranked first every time in the future, being ranked first in the martial arts assessment would definitely make their reputation in Star City No. 1 middle school greatly increase. As for Wang Kai and the others, all of them had ugly faces. They didn't dare to look directly at Chen Fan and lowered their heads. Chen Fan, I'm sorry. In the end, Wang Kai came over and apologized to Chen Fan. They mocked Chen Fan just now. If they don't apologize now, they may be resented by the other party, and it will be miserable then. Chen Fan glanced at Wang Kai and his group of clowns, but did not express his thoughts and ignored them at all. Because he didn't take it to heart at all. As the top God King talent, there will be no chance of meeting Wang Kai and the others in the future. Why bother with such a group of clowns? His goal is to compete in the talent selection competition. The mission this time is to enter the genius training camp and graduate with the first grade. Then he would definitely get first place in the talent selection competition, and he didn't want those people to laugh at it. Especially the female assessor. I felt uncomfortable thinking about what she said. Then he will let those who want to see a joke see how he won the first place again. So what if there are grandmaster level opponents? When the time comes, they will all be suppressed. Chen Fan's eyes burst out with blazing light, and his eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. At this moment, he was extremely confident and even more heroic. Now this warrior assessment is just the beginning, and there is still a long way to go. By then, he will definitely join one of the 10 academic palaces and compete with the truly top monsters. The rewards for this ranking have been announced, and the people in the audience have dispersed. They can only see the rankings, and almost no real people. So when the rankings came out, they were all talking about number 1. Including Chen Fan's parents. It's just that they don't think their son can take the first place in the exam. It's like an ordinary family, and someone suddenly tells you that your son has a noble status, has the appearance of a 9-5 supreme, and is a true dragon emperor. They could still enjoy it if something like this happened in a TV series, but in reality they felt it was impossible. Father Chen, Mother Chen, and the others waited outside the door for a long time, but found that Chen Fan never came out. Let's go home for dinner first. You can call Xiaofan later and ask him to go home and have a hot meal. Mother Chen suggested. Father Chen thought about it and decided that it was okay. It would be okay for them to go home first. Then he dialed the phone, and the phone rang quickly. When he learned that his parents were going home to cook, Chen Fan naturally had no objection and just nodded and said he understood. After all, I can't live without him for a while now. Principal Wang and Teacher Zhang are so enthusiastic. In addition to giving him money, they also keep praising him and even encourage him to cheer for the genius training camp. After an hour, Chen Fan finally returned to the community and stood downstairs at home. He opened the elevator and took the elevator back to the door of his home. Then he was about to walk in when he heard something coming from the opposite door. Ha ha ha, our family is finally going to have a truly powerful warrior. With your grades, although you won't be able to go to the 10 University Palace, you can definitely be admitted to a good university. Then you will be proud of your ancestors. Hearing this voice, he knew it was the voice of his neighbors, Lao Lu and his wife. He remembered that their son seemed to be named Lu Ling, and he went to the same school as himself, but he didn't have much impression. After all, he is not very social on weekdays. Except for one of his best friends, he doesn't have much impression on most of his classmates. Chen Fan changed into a pair of slippers and walked into his home. When you walk into the house, you can smell the delicious aroma of food. On the table in the living room, there is a large amount of delicious food, 6 dishes and 1 soup, which is not so rich on weekdays. Xiao Fan is back. Mother Chen had a smile on her face and placed 2 more meat dishes on the table. With 8 dishes and 1 soup, it seems that we are in for a treat today. Chen Fan found a seat and sat down. Without any ceremony, he took a piece of beef into his mouth and chewed it. He felt that it tasted great. I passed the warrior assessment, but I have to participate in the talent selection competition in a while. Chen Fan said while eating. Father Chen and Mother Chen looked at each other and felt that their son was really good at joking. They know that only the top 7 people want to participate in the talent selection competition. If their son can pass this assessment, they will be very happy, let alone want to participate in the talent selection competition. This is almost impossible and the probability is extremely small. Brother, you've become better and better at joking lately. My younger sister, Chen Shui, walked out of the room and laughed on the spot when she heard what Chen Fan said. Chen Fan looked at his sister's disbelief and said, "What if I am the first?" Chen Shui smiled even happier when she heard these words. "Ha ha ha, brother, you can really brag. Now you are number 1. When she was in the audience, she saw that the name of the first place winner was indeed Chen Fan, and she thought it was really her brother. But after being taught a lesson by her parents, she knew that the first place was probably not her brother. Ordinary talent is number 1, who would believe it if you tell me? I'm afraid everyone else will think they're crazy. The probability of this kind of thing is almost 0, so don't have too many delusions. Okay, let's eat. Chen's mother thought that Chen Fan wanted to save face, so she said this deliberately, and quickly started to smooth things over. You eat more food, what's wrong with your brother being number 1? He is number 1 in our hearts. Father Chen taught Chen Shui a lesson, meaning that she should stop irritating Chen Fan. Chen Shui had no choice but to stop laughing and start eating honestly. Chen Fan looked at this warm picture with a smile on his face. He was originally planning to take out the money first, and he now has a full 8 million in his account. Presumably after my parents see the money, they will know that this is true. But this matter is not urgent, we will talk about it after dinner. At the same time, the old Lu family, when they knew that their son was going to become a warrior, the 2 of them were extremely excited. If such a genius is born, their family will become prosperous in the future. Son, you are so awesome, you really make our Mr. Lu look embarrassed. At the table, Lao Lu gave a thumbs up and praised his son, with a proud expression on his face. He is lucky to have such a son in his life. Who should look up to him? As the saying goes, hope your son will become a dragon and your daughter will become a phoenix. In their eyes, their son has now become a dragon and the envy of everyone. It won't be long before those who want to propose marriage will cross the threshold. Who wouldn't want to reach out to them? Lao Lu's wife was cooking in the kitchen. She was particularly energetic today and felt that the future was bright. Their son is really going to become a dragon. It's thrilling and exciting just thinking about it. This is what many people dream of. Xiao Ling, didn't the son of the old Chen family next door go to the assessment with you? How was his score? Lao Lu mentioned it casually. Lu Ling thought for a moment and shook his head. It probably doesn't work very well. He and I didn't test it in the same place. Maybe he was passed in the first level. He was very nervous during the assessment and didn't pay much attention to Chen Fan at all. Besides, someone like Chen Fan wouldn't get too much attention at all. In addition, after he successfully became a warrior, he left and did not stay there to see the top geniuses. He was a bit arrogant. Seeing so many geniuses who were stronger than him, he naturally felt a little uncomfortable, so he came back alone. After becoming a warrior, he will naturally have a better future, and he doesn't need to care about other people at all. Although compared with top geniuses, his achievements are indeed nothing. But those he compares are usually ordinary people, so he can naturally find a sense of superiority. Let's see that the first name on the screen is Chen Fan. He should have the same name. Lao Lu remembered the ranking they saw when they were in the audience. First place. When Lu Ling heard this, he was startled at first, but then his expression became normal again. With Chen Fan's ordinary talent, is he worthy of being number 1? There are so many people with the same name in the world, maybe they are some top extraordinary talents. He didn't believe that Chen Fan could win first place, so he didn't care about it and didn't take it to heart at all. Lao Lu also sneered and said, I'm confused too, why are you bringing this up? Then the father and son were talking about what kind of academy they would join in the future. Becoming a warrior has the right to choose a school. Although the top academies cannot be chosen, some ordinary academies can be chosen at will. The academy is the university. Chen family. Chen Fan and his family finished their meal, and Chen Fan was ready to pay to show it to his parents, but his parents didn't stay at the table longer and left directly. However, my sister Chen Shui stood in front of Chen Fan and said, Brother, are you hiding some private money? Why don't you give me some? Chen Shui saw that Chen Fan seemed to be trying to take out something, and thought it was Chen Fan hiding private money. Chen Fan glanced at his young and beautiful sister and said, Have you finished your homework? Why don't you go back and study hard? When Chen Shui heard this, she immediately snorted and left the place. She was not happy when it came to homework. She had just finished her homework and asked her to do it again. Disgusting brother. Xiaofan, you should go back to the house and rest. You have worked hard today. If you have anything to do, we can talk about it tomorrow. Mother Chen's voice came from the kitchen. Chen Fan had no choice but to go back to the room first, but not long after he returned to the room, there was a sudden knock on the door. Chen Fan immediately rushed out of the room, looking very excited. Chen Fan took the initiative to open the door, and sure enough, he saw a man wearing a purple robe. At this moment, Zijin has restrained her powerful energy and blood, and looks like an ordinary person. This is your martial arts, but remember not to spread it to others, otherwise you will be held accountable. Bahinia warned. This is a special reward in the warrior assessment competition. Especially the breathing method, this kind of extremely precious martial arts, ordinary people are not even qualified to see it, and of course it cannot be spread casually. Really powerful martial arts are like this. I understand, thank you. Chen Fan took the 2 C-level martial arts books and bowed to thank them. Teacher Z, would you like to come in for a drink of water? Chen Fan asked. Chen Fan only knew that the other party was a big shot and came from the academy. It should be okay to call him teacher. Zijin shook his head and said, I still have some things to do, so I won't stay here any longer. Remember to practice hard and strive to shine in the talent selection competition. After explaining something, his figure disappeared in an instant, and it looked like he was teleporting. Chen Fan only saw afterimages. This is a form of martial arts. Chen Fan discovered that the martial arts displayed by the other party were extremely mysterious and seemed to be more powerful than C-level martial arts. I am afraid it was a higher-level martial arts. Sure enough, this teacher was more powerful than he imagined, probably a great master. You must know that there is no great master in the entire Star City. Why do I think so much? I'd better hurry up and practice martial arts. Chen Fan closed the door. Xiao Fan, who is it just now? Mother Chen came out of the kitchen and wiped her palms with a towel. It's an assessment teacher who's here to give me martial arts lessons. Chen Fan left a few words and hurried back to his room. Seeing Chen Fan's confident look, Chen's mother suspected that her son might have really passed the martial arts examination. If that's the case, her son no longer has to go to the battlefield but can join the academy. Chen Fan returned to the room and started practicing breathing techniques on the spot. He found that the breathing method was the most difficult to practice, and it took him a full hour to successfully practice it. As he exhaled and exhaled, Chen Fan found that the power of his qi and blood was actually increasing. The breathing method is really terrible, allowing it to draw some energy from the air. This energy continuously replenishes his qi and blood, and even replenishes his physical strength. As the saying goes, getting started is the most difficult. After getting started, the speed of practice becomes much faster. As time goes by, Chen Fan's breathing method becomes more and more sophisticated. He found that the breathing method could always squeeze out new strength at the most critical moment, constantly develop the body, and make his body stronger. Every time he feels muscle soreness, his own energy and blood strength will increase. Even on his body, the water vapor began to evaporate, and he found that he was emitting a temperature that exceeded that of ordinary people. Of course, when his energy and blood power felt like it was reaching its peak, another kind of power was born in his body. This kind of power is more powerful than the power of qi and blood. If the normal power of qi and blood is like a chopstick, then the newly born power is like a bundle of chopsticks tied together. Chen Fan opened his eyes and felt the sound rushing in his blood vessels. A golden light appeared in his hand. This is the new power that was just born after practicing the breathing method. Is this the legendary qi? This golden power is extremely powerful and can be condensed into any shape. Moreover, this true energy was constantly circulating in his body, making him feel stronger than ever before. After reaching the second level of martial arts, you can cultivate junqi. However, according to the records in the books, it will be extremely painful and extremely difficult to cultivate junqi. But once the cultivation is successful, it will be extremely powerful. And when he was practicing, he didn't seem to feel the extreme pain, it was more like it came naturally. It is said that after possessing true energy, in addition to greatly saving your physical strength, the martial arts power you unleash will be even greater. Chen Fan shook his hands and wanted to try it in the room, but he was afraid of damaging the entire room. But it is said that only after reaching the master's level can the true energy be released, and what about me? Chen Fan looked at the golden light he had condensed and didn't know what to say. When others see him like this, they might think he is a master. Chen Fan put away the golden energy and returned it to flow inside his body. It is said that after becoming a master, the true energy is released, which can protect the body and kill enemies. If the enemy can't break these infuriating energies, he won't be able to hurt him at all. In other words, those below the level of Grandmaster are almost unable to fight back against a real Grandmaster, and cannot even break through their defenses. There is also a book on explosive boxing. I'd better go out and practice it so as not to disturb my parents. It was late at night and the sky was filled with stars. Chen Fan gently opened the window and jumped down from here. An ordinary person would almost certainly die if he jumped from such a height. But now he was a powerful martial artist. He used the breathing method to jump down from here and landed lightly on the ground. He didn't alert anyone, and he didn't get any injuries. Afterwards, Chen Fan arrived outside the city. I found a quiet place with no one and started practicing here. Of course, he also directly exploded the power of his own energy and blood to frighten those ferocious beasts who did not know whether to live or die. The bursting fist technique was much easier than the breathing technique. It took Chen Fan half a day to practice it to perfection. This boxing technique is indeed much more powerful than the 9 styles of Lian. However, Chen Fan still likes to call the 9 styles of fiery flames the 9 cuts of fiery flames. After all, it is the 9 strikes. Chen Fan activated his breathing method, and a gust of wind suddenly blew up around him. Then the power of honor's energy and blood exploded, and he punched forward. Boom! There was a violent whistling sound in the void, and a large amount of flames condensed to form a fist seal. A huge 5-meter fist mark struck forward, and the ground exploded, leaving a crack more than 10 meters long and a deep pit several meters in the shape of a fist mark. Some of the ferocious beasts that were approaching this place disappeared in an instant and were scared away. It's so powerful. If it is combined with true energy, it will probably be even more terrifying. Chen Fan was very excited. This was the real sea-level martial arts. It was indeed so powerful that it made people excited. The main thing that the blow just caused was not destruction, but pure and extreme power. At that moment, Chen Fan felt that his combat power had exceeded 1 million. 1 million combat power, this is directly double than before, and the strength has been qualitatively improved. Call. Chen Fan let out a long breath, and his entire mental state reached its peak. The power of qi and blood in his body is extremely thick, and it is exuding at this moment, giving people a terrifying feeling like a ferocious beast. With such a strong qi and blood, it is not weak among martial arts masters, and may even be able to compete with the masters. However, Chen Fan has never really fought against a grandmaster, and there are very few strong masters, so Chen Fan is actually not sure in his heart. To be able to be called a grandmaster, I am afraid that breaking through 1 million combat power is just the foundation. Otherwise, how can you be called a master? Of course, this is also Chen Fan's guess. The real masters are the principals of major schools. But these principals don't usually burst out with amazing energy, because no one is worthy of them. A strong master, aloof and above all, in Star City, he is a man of his word. Chen Fan shook his head and stopped thinking about these complicated issues. Anyway, it won't take long for him to become a true master, and he will know when the time comes. But before that, Chen Fan wanted to give it a try. If his bursting fist technique was combined with the true energy in his body, how powerful would it be? He did it as he thought. Without any hesitation, Chen Fan gathered his strength into one point and concentrated it on his fist. At this moment, the fist mark formed by Chen Fan was only 1 meter in size. But the fist seal condensed purely from flames is covered with a layer of golden light. This layer of golden light is flowing and exuding a mysterious aura. Drink, Chen Fan shouted in a deep voice and punched out. The air suddenly froze for a moment, and then a thunderous sound erupted, and the void seemed to explode at this moment. Boom! Chen Fan saw a golden light streaking across the sky, and then landed on a huge mountain jade dozens of meters away. Inside the city, a young warrior, full of confidence, came to the first city area outside the city. This warrior was about 22 years old, with dark skin, short and thin, and felt a little uneasy at the moment. This was also his first trip outside the city to kill a ferocious beast, and of course he was going to the second level area. We have to go to the battlefield again and face a vicious beast. This young warrior was unsure. His family was particularly short of money, so he had the idea of going out to kill ferocious beasts. Otherwise, although you can live quite a wealthy life with your salary, you may have to work for a lifetime if you want to buy a good house. The quickest way to make money is to kill ferocious beasts. He had an average talent at first, but after going to the battlefield, he survived a narrow escape. After successfully returning to the city, although he longed for the life of a strong man, he also knew that he was not the material. Unexpectedly, in the city, he was lucky enough to successfully break through and become a warrior, capable of independently killing level 2 ferocious beasts. I thought I would never go to the battlefield again, but I didn't expect that now I would still have to go to the battlefield and face those terrifying beasts. However, just as he walked not far into the first level area, he suddenly heard a thunderous sound. Boom! Then he saw a golden flash of lightning passing in front of him. The strong sense of danger made his eyes freeze on the spot, and then he collapsed to the ground and gasped for air. He felt like his heart was pounding and his soul was trembling. That was true energy just now, the master was practicing here. The young warrior is called Lu Huan, and he also met the Grand Master back then. When the master killed the ferocious beast, he was like a sun. Invincible, powerful. I originally thought that I would never see the Grand Master take action again in this life, but I didn't expect to feel it here. Then his eyes moved to the area where the golden light fell. There was a crack on the huge mountain wall, and white smoke continued to rise from the crack. Bang! Then the mountain wall suddenly collapsed and turned into countless stones, falling from the sky and landing on the ground, splashing dust all over the sky. With just one punch, a hill more than 20 meters high was shattered. I'm afraid no one can do it except the Grand Master. Grand Master, have mercy, Grand Master, have mercy. I didn't mean to disturb your practice. Lu Huan suddenly remembered that some masters had bad tempers and might kill someone if they were disturbed. After all, the Grand Master has a noble status. Even if he kills a small martial artist, no one would dare to stand up for him. Of course, this kind of thing is very rare. The master has the bearing of a master. But I was afraid of an accident. If something like this happened and I was killed by a Grand Master, wouldn't it be very unfair? Therefore, the top priority was to quickly beg for mercy. If he was the first to admit his mistake, the Grand Master would definitely not take action. At this moment, Chen Fan looked at the punch he unleashed and finally understood why the Grand Master was so powerful. He released his true energy, gathered his strength together, and then exploded out, like a bolt of lightning. He couldn't even estimate the power of that punch just now. But it should have a combat power of more than 1.2 million, and coupled with that kind of speed, it is simply impossible to guard against. I'm afraid no one below the Grand Master level can resist it. Chen Fan was very satisfied with the power of his true energy. He ignored the figure kneeling on the ground, turned around and left with a slight smile on his face. Anyway, the other party didn't see him clearly. Shortly after Chen Fan left, Lu Huan quickly got up from the ground. He was still frightened and left the place quickly. At this moment, Chen Fan has returned to the city and home. He lay on the sofa, feeling his growing strength, but he felt it was still not enough. Although true energy can stimulate one's own muscles and bones, thereby giving birth to more powerful energy and blood. But those geniuses can also do it, and the martial arts they master may be more powerful than their own. He remembered that sea-level boxing seemed to be clearly divided into 3 levels: low level, middle level and high level. The sea-level boxing skills mastered by those nobles are likely to be mid-level and high level, and they may also be able to master B-level martial arts. If you want to take first place with your own combat power, it probably won't be enough. But this matter cannot be rushed. At least he has now exceeded 1.2 million combat power. Spending more time in the sun during this period can enhance his cultivation. As for the 8 million in his hand, it seems like a lot, but this amount of money cannot buy higher level martial arts, not even explosive boxing. If you want to obtain more powerful martial arts, you may have to go out and kill ferocious beasts to earn money. Level 3 ferocious beasts should be more valuable. With one's own strength, it would probably not be too difficult to deal with any level 3 ferocious beast. Chen Fan decided on his target and would first bask in the sun for half a month before going outside to kill some powerful ferocious beasts. After having a clear goal, Chen Fan got up from the sofa and drank a large bottle of water, then stretched and prepared to go back to the room and have a good sleep. When he came to the room and saw the soft bed, Chen Fan lay down directly on it and soon began to fall asleep, feeling relaxed all over his body. That night Chen Fan had a sweet dream. The next morning, Mother Chen got up early and made breakfast there. She made some fried dough sticks, some soy milk, some steamed buns made by herself, and some white porridge. Although these things can also be bought outside, Chen's mother prefers to make them herself. Because what she made was more in line with her family's taste, she persevered. Chen Fan heard a noise in the room and opened his eyes, feeling energetic today. In fact, as his cultivation became more and more powerful, Chen Fan felt that he was always at his peak. After getting up, Chen Fan started brushing his teeth and washing his face, getting ready to have a good breakfast. It was already 8 o'clock in the morning, and there was a sudden knock on the door. Mother Chen walked over and opened the door and saw Lao Lu and his wife. "Please come in quickly." Mother Chen entertained them politely. After all, the two families have been neighbors for so long, so some superficial work still needs to be done. After Lao Lu and his wife came in, they sat directly on the sofa, acting like the masters of the house. Mother Chen poured them 2 glasses of water. The two of them didn't even look at each other, but started getting down to business. "How was your Chen Fan's warrior assessment score? If that doesn't work, send him to the battlefield as soon as possible. There's nothing you can do about it. Everyone who fails the warrior assessment has to go." Unlike our Lu Ling, he passed the martial arts assessment and got a good ranking. He will be able to join the academy in a while, and we will also move out of here. As soon as the couple came in, they said some unpleasant things. Mother Chen had a gloomy face when she heard this and wanted to kick these two people out directly. "Originally, I was thinking about the relationship between my neighbors and didn't want to get into too much trouble with them, but for these two people, after their son passed the martial arts examination, he showed off everywhere. Now even to come home and say such things is simply an insult." This was too much, and Chen's mother was so angry that she wanted to hit someone with the pot lid. "HMPH. You guys are annoying." My sister Chen Shui was also at home because she didn't have to go to school today, but she just came out to have breakfast when she heard what Lao Lu and the others said. So Chen Shui was very angry. Although she was usually quiet, she felt very unhappy when she saw these people talking about her brother like that. No matter what, Chen Fan is still her brother. How could she allow others to put him down like this? Even if Chen Fan really failed the martial arts assessment, what does it have to do with them? "Hey, you little girl, why are you so rude? I am your elder. Do you speak to your elders like this?" Lao Lu began to rely on his old age and glared at Chen Shui fiercely. He has been so prosperous recently that no one dares to contradict him. "You also know that you are an elder. Why would an elder come to someone else's house and say these things? Save some face." Chen Shui was unceremonious. "You." Lao Lu stood up angrily, shook his sleeves and sat down again. I'm too lazy to argue with you. I treat my kindness like a donkey liver and lungs. Chen Shui didn't want to pay attention to the other party. Mother Chen felt a breath of bad breath. At this moment, Chen's father also came out and said to Lao Lu, Lao Lu, I know that your boy did well in the martial arts assessment, but if you want to say these things, go to someone else's house and say it. You are not welcome in our family. You can say anything, except that his son, Father Chen, will be unhappy. Just leave, you are a bunch of ignorant guys. When my son joins the academy in the future, you will know the difference between genius and mediocrity. Your son Chen Fan, even if he practices cultivation, is wasting cultivation resources. You may want to use your salary to help him buy cultivation resources, but he is unlikely to achieve anything great in this life, so don't waste money. Before Lao Lu and his wife were about to leave, they said some heart-wrenching words, with a completely condescending expression and a look of success. Father Chen and Mother Chen suppressed their anger and were too lazy to say more to this group of people. The old Lu couple are no longer the neighbors they used to know. Their son has become successful and has become a person who looks down on ordinary people. At this time, a door creaked. Chen Fan walked out of the room. Chen Fan naturally heard everything the other party said just now, so he looked at Lao Lu and his wife without any polite tone. Didn't what you just said just covertly say that I'm a loser? But let me tell you, no matter how useless I am, I'm still 100 times better than your son. Your son Lu Ling is nothing in my eyes. I can knock him down with just one finger. Seeing Chen Fan say these crazy words, Lao Lu and his wife laughed on the spot. You have an ordinary talent, but you still dare to say these ignorant words. As expected, you are a waste. If you are sick, go to the hospital for treatment. Lao Lu and his wife sneered, thinking that Chen Fan was just crazy. But at this moment, a car horn suddenly sounded downstairs. A black car parked downstairs. There were 4 golden stars on the car, which meant that the owner of the car was a true master. The car door opened and 3 people got out. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a black suit, with a face as sharp as a knife and an extraordinary temperament. Behind him is an old man who looks very kind and holds a thermos cup in his hand, just like an ordinary old man. It is Principal Wang. Next to him is Zhang Zhengguo, Chen Fan's class teacher. They came here specifically to explain something to Chen Fan. At this moment, another car came behind the community. The owner of the car suddenly cursed when he saw that there was no parking space. Who is this? There are not enough parking spaces in the community, but you still dare to occupy a spot. Doo-doo. The car owner had a hot temper. He honked the horn several times to vent his dissatisfaction, and then got out of the car. The sun was too bright today and was a bit dazzling. He didn't see the license plate number of the vehicle clearly just now. But when he got closer, he saw the bright license plate number X000001 on the vehicle. He was immediately frightened and sweating profusely, and hurried back to his car. The city lord's car represents the arrival of a master-level figure. The powerful strength of this era also represents a powerful identity. How could such a character suddenly appear in their neighborhood? At this moment, the Lu family couple who were at Chen Fan's house heard the sound of horns outside, stood by the window, and looked down. As a result, their eyes were wide open on the spot, and both of them were confused and in a state of shock. They saw the license plate number, which was the city owner's exclusive license plate. The city lord has come to the community. Is such a big shot coming here specifically for Ling Er? Lao Lu and his wife were very excited, and their faces were full of excitement. If it is true, this is a boundless glory, and it can be said that there is green smoke rising from the ancestral grave. Other people in the community, after hearing the whistle, also walked out of their homes and looked down. This is the city lord's car. Why did the city lord come to our community? Isn't the best in our community the Luling of the old Lu family? Someone came out from inside, and the direction they went to was Lao Lu's house. The old Lu family is going to prosper. The residents of the community started talking excitedly. Such a big shot, they usually don't even have the qualifications to meet, but today they took the initiative to come to this community. Lao Lu and his wife quickly walked out of Chen's house and came to the elevator. Father Chen, Mother Chen, and others were also here at the moment. They saw the license plate number downstairs and wanted to see the rumored city lord, so they walked out of the door. They have never seen such a big shot. Lao Lu and his wife glanced at Chen Fan's family intentionally or unintentionally, with expressions of disdain and disgust on their faces. What bad luck. A whole family of losers deserves to live in a community with them. It simply lowered the quality of their community. Lao Lu and his wife are now extremely disgusted with Chen Fan and his family. At this time, Chen Fan and his family, except Chen Fan, were all confused and didn't know what was going on. Why did the city lord come to our community? What an unprecedented and strange thing. Chen Luan, Chen's father, sighed with emotion. You must have something to do with me. Chen Fan said. My sister Chen Shui smiled and said, Brother, you have become more and more humorous recently. Mother Chen shook her head with a smile. Obviously she also thought Chen Fan was joking. What kind of person is the city lord? Why would he come looking for his son for no reason? It's so funny. The city lord will come looking for you. Who do you think you are? Chen Fan, when you see the city lord later, don't be so frightened that you fall to your knees. Lao Lu and his wife looked sarcastic and looked down on Chen Fan at all. In the past, Chen Fan had good grades and might awaken powerful talents, so they were polite. But now, Chen Fan is a waste, so of course you are welcome. Chen Fan was too lazy to argue with these two ordinary people. They would know it later. Principal Wang, holding a thermos cup in his hand, was coming up from the elevator. When the elevator opened, he happened to meet Chen Fan. Lao Lu and his wife took the initiative to come forward with smiles on their faces and wanted to say hello, but Principal Wang and the others did not even look at Lao Lu and his wife. Instead, they waved to say hello to Chen Fan behind them. Classmate Chen, we meet again. Principal Wang said with a kind smile on his face. Chen Fan won first place this time, but because of the reputation of Xingcheng No. 1 middle school, he was even more famous. There were countless parents who wanted to send their children to their school. Hello, Principal Wang. However, Chen Fan's attitude towards Principal Wang was neither humble nor arrogant, because he believed that sooner or later, he would surpass Principal Wang. Classmate Chen, this is the Dragon City Lord of Star City. Principal Wang smiled and introduced the middle-aged man's identity. I've met the Dragon City Lord. Chen Fan greeted and saluted. Sure enough, he is a dragon and a phoenix among men, a talented person. Lord Long looked at Chen Fan and praised him. The Lord of Dragon City is overly praised. It's not very convenient to talk here. Please come inside. You've had a hard time on the road. Let's go in and have a drink of water first. Chen Fan invited. Dragon City Lord nodded and walked into the room. At this moment, Chen's father, Chen's mother, and his sister Chen Shui, all three of them could hold a cup with their mouths slightly open. They were in a state of unspeakable shock. Lord Longcheng is a truly powerful master. They are usually not qualified to meet such a big shot. As a result, they came to visit today. Although they looked like ordinary people and they did not feel the power of qi and blood, they knew that this was a master and deliberately restrained his qi. The most important thing is that they are so polite to their son. You have raised a good son. He is the leader of this warrior assessment, the real first place, and the pride of our school. Zhang Zhengguo informed. Father Chen and Mother Chen were shocked and were in a state of great excitement and joy. My brother is number 1. Chen Shui was also shocked. She thought he had the same name, but he didn't expect that he was actually her brother. The person who ranked first in the warrior assessment turned out to be their son, Chen Shui's brother. Chen family Chen Fan, Lao Lu and his wife, at this moment, looked extremely ugly. They originally thought that their child was the most dazzling one in the community. But compared with the children of the Chen family, they are completely different and not on the same level at all. Even the comparison is an insult. No wonder Chen Fan said such words just now. It was not because he was arrogant or sick, but it was a fact. The faces of Lao Lu and his wife were pale, and their heads were buzzing. Both of them were unsteady and collapsed on the ground. They thought that since their status was different, they could look down upon everyone in the community with a superior attitude, and even had a complete stalemate with Chen Fan's family. The two struggled to get up from the ground. Just as their son Lu Ling came back from buying fruit with Bluetooth headphones on his ears, the two of them bumped into him. Bang bang bang. The bag full of apples immediately fell down and hit the ground with a loud sound. Mom and Dad, what's wrong with you? Lu Ling took off his Bluetooth headset. He didn't know what was happening, but he saw his parents were lost in their thoughts and kept mumbling. It's over. The son of the old Chen family actually came first in the assessment. What? Lu Ling originally looked leisurely, but now, his eyes suddenly opened wide with an expression of disbelief. Mom and Dad, did you hear it wrong? How could Chen Fan be the first in the warrior assessment? Anyone can be first, but for Chen Fan to be first, he felt it was impossible. You heard me right, he is really number one. The city lord has come in person, and he just entered Lao Chen's house. Lao Lu looked lost and regretful. He originally had a good relationship with Chen Fan's family, but now, I'm afraid he won't be able to benefit from it at all. The other party may even hold a grudge. Other neighbors also pointed fingers at Lao Lu's family. Lao Lu is really floating. I didn't expect to offend Lao Chen. Lao Chen's son is so promising, but I don't see him talking about it everywhere. Compared with Lao Lu, the gap is huge. Originally they thought the city lord was coming to see Lu Ling, but they never expected that he was coming to see Chen Fan. So now they deliberately keep a distance from the Lao Lu family and don't want them to talk at all. After all, Lao Lu had already announced that they were going to leave this community and go to a better community. He looked as if his heart was as high as the sky. Anyway, they already look down on the people in their community. They usually just dare to be angry but dare not speak out, not wanting to offend Lao Lu. But things are different now. Lao Lu may not be able to protect himself now. The commotion outside could not be heard clearly at Chen Fan's house. But the city lord and Principal Wang, as masters, heard everything clearly. But they didn't care about it. To them, the Lao Lu family was just a group of ordinary people, and they were not qualified to have contact with them. Chen Fan and the others can just handle such a small matter by themselves. Lord Long and the others were sitting on the sofa, and Chen Fan personally poured them a few glasses of water. Dragon City Lord took the water cup and said, "Classmate Chen has taken the liberty to visit you this time. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on getting the first place in the warrior assessment and bringing glory to our star city. At the same time, I hope you can perform well in the talent training camp and strive to achieve good results in the national exchange competition in the future." The Lord of Dragon City organized his words and said something like this. "I will work hard." Chen Fan smiled and nodded. Lord Long took a sip of water and said, "In this genius training camp, it is said that the first place winner will receive A-level martial arts, a large amount of training resources, and other rewards, which are very generous. And it is said that the top 10 will have other different generous rewards." Quote. Upon hearing such important news, Chen Fan's eyes lit up and he was immediately full of interest. A-level martial arts, this level of precious martial arts, generally cannot be bought with money and needs to be exchanged for things. Of course you can use money, but the probability of being able to buy it is extremely small. In true A-level martial arts, only by becoming a general can you unleash all the mysteries of martial arts. I didn't expect that there would be such level of martial arts in the training camp. It seems that I must get this first place no matter what. Classmate Chen, there are crouching tigers, hidden dragons in the training camp. There are talented monsters from all over the country. Although it is difficult to excel in it, I hope you can practice well and perform well. I hope you don't lose Jinling's face," the Lord of Dragon City said with seriousness. Chen Fan represents not only the face of Star City, but also the entire Jinling, so he came in person to tell Chen Fan this. Presumably after listening to his words, Chen Fan will work hard to practice, at least not to be at the bottom of the genius training camp. Otherwise, it will really make people in other cities laugh. Don't worry, Dragon City Master, I will get first place in this genius training camp. Chen Fan spoke confidently in a calm tone, as if he could win the first place at his fingertips. Dragon City Master put down the water glass and said with a smile, "Okay, it's a good thing that you have this confidence. I am very optimistic about you, and you must work hard during this period." Regarding Chen Fan's words, the Lord of Dragon City actually did not completely believe it. Wanting to get the first place was simply a fantasy. Although the talent training camp is divided into several regions, no one from Jinling has been able to win first place in a division. There are too many geniuses in the outside world, especially those in larger cities. They have better training resources and better talents since childhood. Therefore, the most important resources of the Genius Training Camp are reserved for the top talents. As for Jinling, this possibility is almost impossible. If you can squeeze into the top 50, you will be considered a high achiever. After all, this is a place filled with talented people. Chen Fan, practice your newly acquired martial arts well, Principal Wang said with a smile. If those C-level martial arts can be practiced successfully when entering the Genius Training Camp, they will definitely perform well. But he didn't know that Chen Fan had already practiced both martial arts to perfection. When Chen Fan heard Principal Wang's words, he smiled and nodded gently. Lord Long and Principal Wang did not eat here because they felt that Chen Fan and his family were a little uncomfortable. After all, if someone with their status comes to an ordinary person's home in person, they are bound to feel restless. Let's leave first. Lord Longcheng stood up, followed by Principal Wang, and Zhang Zhengguo also stood up quickly. Walk slowly. Chen Fan stood up and sent them downstairs, waving goodbye. The roar of the car sounded, and Chen Fan took the elevator back upstairs. He found that all the neighbors in this community were looking at him and smiling. Chen Fan didn't pay attention to this, but when he came to the door, he saw Lao Lu and his wife holding several exquisite gift boxes in their hands. Chen Fan, we were wrong just now, we are here to apologize. Lao Lu and his wife changed their faces and became flattering. Chen Fan glanced at their gifts, pointed behind them, and said, "You should leave quickly, I don't know you." Lao Lu and his wife held the gifts in their hands with ugly expressions on their faces. Finally, they bowed to Chen Fan and then left dejectedly. At the same time, they also clearly knew that the relationship with the Chen family was completely deadlocked, and there was no room for relaxation. After offending Chen Fan, it would be difficult for them to live in the community. None of their neighbors would continue to interact with them, which was equivalent to being directly isolated. Deserve it. Looking at Lao Lu's appearance, I'm afraid he will have to move out in less than a week. It's better to move away so that he doesn't have to brag to us every day about how awesome his son is. People in the community were talking a lot, and many people even wanted Lao Lu's family to move out quickly. At the same time, they were also very envious of the Chen family for having someone like Chen Fan appear. He ranked first in the martial arts assessment and was said to be a powerful martial artist. In terms of realm alone, he had surpassed everyone in their community. Chen Fan returned home. I found my parents sitting at the table, waiting for Chen Fan to come back. Chen Fan walked over with a smile, found a table and sat down. Anything you want to ask? Seeing their curious expressions, Chen Fan knew that there must be a lot of questions. Brother, when did you become so powerful? The city lord has come to visit in person, that's the Grand Master. The Grand Master. Chen Shui kept emphasizing those two words, her eyes full of excitement and shock. Your brother, when have I not been great? Chen Fan asked, stroking Chen Shui's beautiful long hair. If she did this on weekdays, Chen Shui would probably get angry and say that she was no longer a child. But Chen Shui didn't feel anything at all when Chen Fan did what he did today. Instead, he felt it was natural. Yes, my brother is the best. Chen Shui gave Chen Fan a thumbs up without thinking too much. As for Chen's father and Chen's mother, they had nothing to ask Chen Fan. Originally they wanted to ask, but after thinking about it, they felt it was unnecessary. Now Chen Fan is their pride, as long as they know this. The other side. In the car, this Chen Fan is pretty good, but I don't know how he will perform after entering the talent training camp. Lord Longcheng sighed. As the lord of a city, he also has a lot of worries in his heart. We should perform well. Although we can't even make it to 100 in Jinling's annual Zhongnan Prefecture talent training camp, we may be able to make it this year. Principal Wang didn't believe Chen Fan at first, but Chen Fan created a miracle. If you can create one miracle, why can't you create a second one? So now he is the person who believes in Chen Fan the most. I hope so. Lord Longcheng slowly closed his eyes. Jinling has been ranked too low for too many years. If they can produce a few more amazing talents, then they can also get more resources here. When the time comes, he will also be able to successfully break through and become a Grand Master. Therefore, Lord Longcheng attaches great importance to this matter. The day passed quickly. Mother Chen came out of her room in the morning and was about to buy groceries when she suddenly saw a middle-aged couple standing at the door. This middle-aged couple is Lao Lu and his friends, carrying a lot of gift boxes in their hands, with a humble and pitiful posture. Since what happened yesterday, everyone in the community has ignored them and treated them as if they were nothing. There is no one to talk to. So they came to deliver gifts again today. Chen Fan was young and energetic, so it was normal to not want to accept their gifts, but they could use a roundabout tactic and give these gifts to Chen Fan's parents, who would presumably be soft-hearted enough to accept their gifts. "What are you doing standing in front of my house?" Mother Chen asked. "This is our apology. We were wrong about what happened yesterday and we were mean-mouthed. Can you forgive us?" Lao Lu and his wife said very humbly. Mother Chen was too lazy to pay attention and walked past them, treating them as nothing. "I want her to forgive me, but how can it be so easy?" After this incident, Mother Chen finally understood the old Lu family clearly, and did not want to have too much contact with them, so as not to make herself angry. Seeing Chen's mother leaving, Lao Lu became furious and vented his anger on his wife. "It's all your fault for being in my ear every day, talking. It's okay now. If we offend the old Chen family, we won't get any good results." Quote. Lao Lu's wife looked aggrieved at this moment and said, "Don't you say how great your son is every day? Why are you blaming me all the time?" Snapped. Lao Lu looked ugly at the moment and slapped his wife on the face. "Shut up, what do you know about a woman?" Lao Lu's wife covered her face and gave Lao Lu a cold look. "You hit me, how dare you hit me, I will fight you." Unable to withstand the tremendous pressure, Lao Lu and his wife began to fight among themselves. But later Lu Ling heard the commotion and came out to stop them. This incident also spread in the community, and everyone was laughing and watching the joke of Lao Lu and his wife. At this time, Chen Fan showed no sign of wanting to practice. He came to the balcony in the morning and was basking in the sun, constantly increasing his energy. But this seems like laziness to others, but only Chen Fan himself knows that the power of his own qi and blood is constantly increasing. The powerful breathing method allows him to absorb the pure energy between heaven and earth with every breath and temper his body. Moreover, more and more true energy is being produced in his body, and the power of energy and blood is increasing faster and faster. If this continues, it will probably more than double in half a month. Now Chen Fan's strength has reached 800,000 kilograms. You must know that this is not produced by breaking through the realm, but by quenching the true energy and quenching the body. Unknowingly, it was noon, and Chen Shui suddenly came over, looked at the sun in the sky, and then looked at Chen Fan, who had a look of enjoyment on his face. "Brother, aren't you very powerful? You are the first in the warrior examination. Why are you here basking in the sun every day?" Chen Shui was very confused. How did his brother practice? Why does it seem like she got more rest than she did, but why did she get the first place in the warrior assessment? Baking in the sun is a kind of practice. Your brother and I can become stronger by taking in the sun. Chen Fan said casually without opening his eyes. Chen Shui was a little speechless. Are you so perfunctory with her? She is not a child anymore. Mom, I said he can become stronger by spending time in the sun. Do you believe it? Chen Shui ran directly to the kitchen to find Chen's mother. Mother Chen was cooking in the kitchen. She glanced in the direction of the balcony and said, "Don't disturb your brother if you have nothing to do. He has his own considerations." Father Chen was sitting on the sofa scrolling through his cell phone and said something at this moment. "Your brother is already number one, so he will naturally know what to do. You should study hard and learn from your brother in the future." When Chen Shui saw that neither her parents were on her side, she suddenly became angry. Angrily, he walked up to Chen Fan and said, "Brother, I will become a more powerful warrior than you in the future." Chen Fan opened his eyes and looked like he was cheering, but his tone was a little careless. "You have to work hard." Chen Shui didn't have much advantage in front of Chen Fan, so she ran to the living room to watch TV again. It's easier to watch Rui Enmity on TV. Brother is so annoying. Ding. Energy plus 20. Energy plus 20. Chen Fan was basking in the sun comfortably, listening to the constant reminders in his body and feeling relaxed all over his body. This feeling of becoming stronger just by lying down is really comfortable. Soon he smelled the fragrant fish soup, and immediately came to the living room and filled a bowl of soup to drink. After eating and drinking, I continued to bask in the sun, as if I planned to live like this day after day. Early the next morning, Chen Fan opened his eyes and twisted slightly. There was a crackling sound all over his body, and Chen Fan scratched his skin with his hand, leaving a layer of black stains on his hand. These are excreted from his body. Since the birth of Qi, this feeling of getting stronger all the time is simply intoxicating. The strength is almost close to 850,000 kilograms. Chen Fan exhales and exhales, giving people an extremely wonderful rhythm. This is the power of the breathing method. I'm afraid no one knows that Chen Fan directly practiced the breathing method to perfection in a short period of time. You know, even the most common breathing method is dozens of times more difficult to practice than other martial arts. Chen Fan got up in the morning and took a shower to get rid of the stains on his body. Chen Fan stood in the bathroom and looked at the mirror. The person in the mirror had longer hair and a sharp light bursting from his eyes. A closer look makes people feel that it is profound and unfathomable. Is this me? Chen Fan smiled slightly, feeling that after becoming stronger, he became taller and more handsome. If I had to use words to describe it, I would probably use incomparable. After drying his hair with a hair dryer, Chen Fan walked out of the bathroom, finished breakfast, and basked in the sun peacefully on the balcony. The days passed lazily like this, day after day. Downstairs in Chen Fan's community, there were a few sneaky people looking at Chen Fan's house. Isn't this Chen Fan a practitioner? We have been staring at him for several days. He runs on the balcony to bask in the sun every day. We really can't understand him. Master Feng specially sent us to keep an eye on him, but this is what happened. Yes, this group of people was sent by Feng Changtian, but the other party just wanted to see what Chen Fan was doing during this time. After all, Feng Changtian believed that Chen Fan was his only opponent. Chen Fan, who was basking in the sun at the moment, had actually noticed the people below in the community for a long time. This group of people did nothing, stayed downstairs every day, and looked in his direction every day. It was hard not to notice. However, after he basked in the sun for a few days, these people did not continue to stay downstairs but left one after another. Chen Fan didn't bother to care about them. As long as they didn't do anything outrageous, there was no need to pay attention to them. Soon, word spread about Chen Fan sunbathing at home every day, and the first person to get the news was Feng Changtian. At this moment, Feng Changtian was practicing. He was practicing his family's martial arts. Endless strong winds emerged around him, and these strong winds mixed together to form a tornado. A 10-meter-high tornado formed on the spot, and finally hit hard in front. The machine jumped violently, and astonishing numbers were displayed on it. 400,000. Feng Changtian also breathed in a strange posture, and true energy was born in his body. Ha ha ha, you are indeed the Qilin son of my Feng family. An old man with white hair walked over with a smile. He was the old man of the Feng family and a true Grand Master. The old man has given you a reward, Feng Changtian said modestly. I didn't expect you to be able to practice the breathing technique of wind to the basic level so quickly. Moreover, you are only at the 5th level of martial arts, yet you have such a powerful combat power. You will definitely surpass me in the future. Mr. Feng is very optimistic about Feng. Long days. At this moment, several servants of the Feng family ran back. After seeing Mr. Feng, he quickly saluted excitedly and then began to report. Master Feng, you asked us to keep an eye on Chen Fan and see what he has been doing these days. We found that he sleeps in the sun every day and does not leave the house at all. Feng Changtian frowned after listening to the report, and then sighed. That's all, he's too arrogant. I thought he could be my opponent, but it seems he won't be able to go very far on the road of being a warrior. Quickly withdraw all the people who are watching him, he is already useless. As a powerful warrior, it is simply a joke that he does not practice hard and strive to improve himself during this golden time, but wastes time basking in the sun every day. Fortunately, he thought he could meet a real opponent, but he was disappointed. Mr. Feng patted Feng Changtian on the shoulder and said, Tianer, your opponents should not be limited to a small jinling. After you enter the Zhongnan Mansion Genius Training Camp, the geniuses there will be your target. Feng Changtian nodded, looking forward to entering the genius training camp. Unconsciously, a few days have passed, and half a month has passed since the last warrior assessment. In the past half month, the news about Chen Fan sunbathing every day has spread throughout Star City. Many people are even discussing this matter. After all, he ranks first in the martial arts assessment and abandons himself to bask in the sun every day. This matter is very popular. Many people like to watch it, and the number of views is amazing. After the Lord of Dragon City got the news, he also frowned and threw his phone on the ground angrily. Why is this Chen Fan so arrogant? Now that time is running out, any genius who stops working hard to practice will just waste his time basking in the sun every day. Lord Longcheng was very angry. At this time, Chen Fan had already come outside the city to bask in the sun. The sun here can increase its energy faster. No, Chen Fan has broken through 3 realms in a row during this period, and has now reached the 7th level of martial arts. Of course, the more important thing is that due to the surge in true energy, Chen Fan is increasing his energy and blood power faster and faster. Now his basic combat power may have exceeded 1 million. Chen Fan could feel that his current pure strength had reached 2 million kilograms. You must know that this is without using any martial arts. My power is getting stronger and stronger. Chen Fan casually shook his hand, and the power of his own energy and blood was like a furnace, emitting endless light and heat. At this moment, he was in the 2nd level area, but none of the ferocious beasts here dared to approach him. They were scared away after feeling the power of blood from a distance. Chen Fan let out a breath, and the invisible power condensed. The terrifying power fell on the ground, and the rocks on the ground exploded. This surge of power made Chen Fan feel that he was invincible. Of course, this is caused by the strength growing too fast. You must know that a month and a half ago, he was just a small warrior, but his power now is many times more powerful than it was then. I don't know if I can kill the Grandmaster by using my martial arts skills. Chen Fan's eyes exuded a sharp light, then he stepped on the ground, and his body left this place like an arrow from a string. Chen Fan originally wanted to go back to the city directly, but when he came to the defensive area on the 2nd floor, he suddenly stopped because he saw a machine for testing combat power placed in an open space. It says that the new machine can test a maximum combat power of 2 million. Chen Fan looked around and found no one there. He became interested and walked to the machine. All the strength in his body was concentrated on the palm of his hand, and he slapped forward hard. Boom! Dee. The machine shook violently, the numbers kept beating, and finally settled on. Chapter 51. There are eye-catching blood-red numbers on the machine, with a combat power of 1 million. Looking at this number, a smile appeared on Chen Fan's face, which was similar to what he expected. Originally, he only knew his approximate combat power, but now he can be sure of it. His own combat power has indeed reached this level. Try martial arts. Chen Fan performed the breathing method, and at the same time the flames danced between his palms, and then in one breath, 9 fire blades were condensed. 9 slashes of fierce flames. The 9 fire blades merged into one and slashed forward. With this D-level martial arts, he no longer needed to stack one move after another. He could directly stack them. Boom! The huge bombardment made the machine tremble, and the numbers on it were beating non-stop at this moment, and the machine seemed to be almost unable to bear it. In the end, the number above was fixed at 1.6 million. As expected, Chen Fan knew that the D-level martial arts he originally relied on was no longer so beneficial to him. Maybe it's because he is too powerful. If you use the explosive punch, it is very likely to exceed 2 million combat power, but it may damage the machine. Chen Fan thought for a moment, decided not to do it, then turned around and left the place. Shortly after Chen Fan left, several staff members came. These workers are responsible for cleaning stains on the machines every day, as well as maintaining and repairing them. Such machines are extremely expensive. Xiao Lu, why do you keep rubbing your shoulders? These staff members were all wearing blue clothes. One of them looked older and asked a young staff member who looked to be in his 20s. I bumped into someone just now, and it still hurts here. Xiao Lu was a fat man with a big belly. He was rubbing his shoulders with a look of discomfort on his face. Young man, don't be so vain. That boy just now looks younger than you. The older staff member laughed, and the others also laughed. These people are all warriors, and the energy and blood in their bodies is not weak. Moreover, their job does not require them to go to the front line to kill ferocious beasts every day. I don't know how many people envy them. Boss, look at the numbers on this. Suddenly a staff member exclaimed, and everyone was curious and looked at the numbers on the machine screen. Then everyone was stunned and remained in place like sculptures. How is this possible? The older staff members were so frightened that they collapsed on the ground, recalling in their minds the young boy they met when they came in just now. That young man looked very sunny, especially his appearance was extremely handsome, as if he had just stepped out of a painting. The boy and Xiaolu bumped into each other just now, but it was because Xiaolu didn't see clearly and accidentally bumped into each other and then quickly apologized. With a combat power exceeding 1 million, the one just now is a real Grand Master. The older staff member muttered. The remaining staff members all swallowed a gulp of saliva, and then looked in the direction Chen Fan left, their eyes filled with indescribable shock. They had just passed by a Grand Master. Especially Xiao Lu, he actually bumped into the other party. Fortunately, this Grand Master has a good temper, otherwise, Xiao Lu would be dead. Grand Master. At this moment, Xiao Lu opened his mouth slightly and was so shocked that he could fit a cup into his mouth. His legs were shaking, and his mind kept thinking about the young face just now. At such a young age, he is actually an extremely powerful man. The other side, Chen Fan, who had left the second defense zone, had returned to the city. While walking on the road, I suddenly met an acquaintance. Zhao Heng. Chen Fan greeted with a smile. Zhao Heng saw the look of surprise on Chen Fan's face and said, Chen Fan, you won't contact me much after you got the first place in the martial artist examination. I thought you had forgotten my brother. Chen Fan said, how could you forget? Chen Fan knew that Zhao Heng was joking with him. The two chatted for a while, and then Zhao Heng invited Chen Fan to a milk tea shop. This milk tea shop has a nice style and is very popular. Chen Fan and the others found a random corner to sit down, and then ordered 2 cups of pearl milk tea. Chen Fan, I heard that you have been basking in the sun recently, and those geniuses said you were useless. Zhao Heng mentioned this issue. When Chen Fan heard this, he said nonchalantly, what do they know? Next time, the first place will be mine. The first place Chen Fan was talking about at this time was the first place in the talent selection competition. He must get this first place. Awesome, ambitious. Zhao Heng gave a thumbs up. Because he knew that Chen Fan never said anything that he was not sure about. Chen Fan said at the beginning that he would take the warrior assessment, and he got the first place now. By the way, how are you? When will you go to the front line? Chen Fan asked. When mentioning this issue, Zhao Heng sighed and said, I have some connections and can delay it for a while, but I should go to the front line in a year at most. In his heart, Chen Fan really hoped that Zhao Heng could survive from the front line. After all, this was his best friend. The two chatted for a while and then left. Chen Fan returned home, entered the bathroom, took a shower, changed into clean clothes, and started watching short videos on his mobile phone. After brushing for a while, it was getting very late, so Chen Fan went to bed. When I opened my eyes again, it was already the next day. Although Chen Fan praised Zhao Heng yesterday, saying that he could stand out and win first place in the talent selection competition, Chen Fan was not sure. It is said that this time, there is a master-level genius. Although Chen Fan knew that his combat power had reached extremely terrifying levels, he had never really competed with a master-level genius. Although he has a combat power of more than 1 million, those master-level geniuses may be even more terrifying. I still need to become stronger. Chen Fan sat there and thought for a while, and finally decided to go to the Kanglan Mountains to hunt powerful beasts. There are a lot of ferocious beasts there. If you want to get stronger martial arts, you may not be able to buy it with money. However, there are countless ferocious beasts in the Kanglan Mountains. It is said that you may encounter a 4th-level ferocious beast at the master level. Those ferocious beasts were extremely valuable, and they might be able to exchange them for higher-level martial arts. Chen Fan was thinking quickly and was immediately ready to head to the Kanglan Mountains in Nanchang. However, before leaving home, Chen Fan still said hello to his parents and told them that he would not be going home for a long time and there was no need to prepare meals for him. Chen's father and Chen's mother didn't ask any more questions, but just told Chen Fan to be careful. Then Chen Fan went into battle lightly and headed for Nanchang. After half a day's driving, Chen Fan finally arrived at this place. A huge city was built here, hundreds of feet high, like a giant standing tall on the sky and the earth. Just looking at this city makes people feel indestructible and endlessly oppressive. If you need to go out from here, you can reach the Kanglan Mountains, where terrible beasts are raging. Of course, there are also a large number of warriors here, and there are also many martial arts masters. Occasionally, you can even feel some masters with extremely terrifying energy and blood passing by. This is a truly large city, and it is also an extremely dangerous front line, where ferocious beasts may attack the city at any time. But Nanchang has stood here for hundreds of years and has remained standing. Arriving at this rumored city, Chen Fan was a little shocked inside. This is not an area of Star City. If he was not strong enough, Chen Fan would never come here. Originally, Chen Fan wanted to choose the 4th level area of Star City, where there were master level ferocious beasts. But if you want to go there, you must obtain the approval of the city lord, and there are various troublesome procedures. That's why Chen Fan came here simply, to the Kanglan Mountains. This is a relatively open area. Anyone can come here, or go out of the city to kill ferocious beasts and earn a lot of money. But the danger level here is far higher than other places. Many people die in the Kanglan Mountains every day and turn into withered bones. At this time, Chen Fan walked past a Grandmaster. Even though this Grandmaster had restrained his energy and blood, he still gave people a feeling like the sun. This Grandmaster is a middle-aged man about 40 years old. His face is expressionless, but he exudes a dangerous aura. No one dared to come close within a few meters, looking at the Grandmaster with eyes filled with awe. However, Chen Fan was less than half a meter away from this Grandmaster, but he did not feel any pressure or danger. It seems, this Grandmaster is not much of a threat to him. Chen Fan passed by the Grandmaster and walked towards the outside of the city. At this time, the Grandmaster looked back at Chen Fan and murmured, "It's so strange that the power of Qi and blood is not afraid of my pressure. Is he also a Grandmaster?" You know, he had just returned from killing a vicious beast outside the city. Others looked at Chen Fan's back with shock. Facing a powerful master, he could be so calm. This young man is amazing. The middle-aged master withdrew his gaze and quickly left the place. At this time, Chen Fan arrived outside the city. Energy plus 20. Bathing in the sunshine, Chen Fan's energy increased. What a young warrior, he actually has a vague pressure on him. Some warriors who had left the city were discussing there. There were many powerful warriors among these warriors, but when they looked at Chen Fan, there was some shock in their eyes. "Hello, do you know where there are powerful ferocious beasts?" Although Chen Fan didn't know these warriors, he still asked someone casually. "There are powerful ferocious beasts everywhere here. Little brother, do you want to hunt the ferocious beasts?" A tall warrior dressed in black asked with a smile. Chen Fan nodded and said, "The powerful ferocious beasts I am talking about refer to ferocious beasts above level 3. The black-clothed warrior was silent for a moment, then looked at Chen Fan carefully. To be honest, he couldn't see through Chen Fan at all. Although the power of Qi and blood in Chen Fan's body was not fully released, he always felt that the young man in front of him was dangerous. This level of danger was just like the feeling he had when he was being chased by a level 4 ferocious beast and trying to escape. But he could feel that Chen Fan was not a master. Because a true master has a strong will and pressure, which can be felt as soon as he feels it. "I know where the level 4 ferocious beasts are." Next to the warrior in black is a young man of about 30 years old. This man has long shawl hair, is wearing sun protection clothing, has fair skin, and looks a bit feminine. "Appreciate further details," Chen Fan said politely. 5 kilometers ahead from here, I heard someone who escaped a few days ago say that there is a level 4 ferocious beast, a golden 2-headed lion, over there, and that's its lair. Some feminine young men told. After everyone heard this, they all looked in the direction the man pointed and made a mental note. The 4th level ferocious beast is a deadly existence, and it is a ferocious beast that is truly comparable to the master level. Although the 4th level ferocious beasts do not have the wisdom of a master level strongman, they will be hunted by a master level strongman. But it is not something that martial artists like them can covet. Because the level 4 ferocious beasts can kill them with one strike just by their strength. As long as they are touched, they will definitely die. Therefore, when faced with such a terrifying beast, one usually avoids it. Thank you. Chen Fan politely thanked him. Then he was as light as a swallow, left this place, and headed in the direction of the golden two-headed lion. If he wants to obtain more powerful martial arts, he must obtain something of sufficient value. The ferocious beast crystals of the 4th level ferocious beasts are extremely precious, but this is not enough. However, there are usually elixirs next to the lairs of level 4 ferocious beasts, and these elixirs may be exchanged for higher level martial arts. Because the value of elixirs is also very precious, they can enhance people's physique, and some are necessary items for refining elixirs. Everyone looked at Chen Fan's leaving figure with somewhat surprised expressions on their faces. Who is this young man? He is so brave. She should be a powerful genius, so confident. I don't know whether to live or die. How dare a martial artist hunt for a level 4 ferocious beast? Everyone shook their heads, thinking that Chen Fan was finished. It's not like there weren't people who were so confident in the past, but the price was very serious, almost costing their lives. Facing level 4 ferocious beasts, most martial artists will undoubtedly die, but only some can escape death. At the same time, deep in the Kanglan Mountains, a group of people appeared here. One of them is an acquaintance of Chen Fan. This man has blonde hair and is no longer as unruly as before. Instead, he has a more restrained aura. He is Wang Long. Since being defeated by Chen Fan last time, he finally understood that talent is not everything. Since he can surpass one of the top 10 geniuses, it is reasonable for Chen Fan to surpass him. Chen Fan, I am definitely stronger than you. Sooner or later I will defeat you with my own hands. Wang Long secretly made up his mind. This time, he wanted to break through to a higher realm faster, so he went to his father to ask for help. Most of the people behind him were the guards of his royal family. Of course, among this group of people, there was also a lean man with a black beard. The man was wearing a black suit, and his tiger eyes exuded a dangerous light. Uncle Bai, I'll trouble you later, Wang Long said politely to the man. Uncle Bai showed a smile on his face and nodded. Your father has told me that this time I will help you kill the golden two-headed lion and obtain the elixir. He had grown up watching Wang Long and was a good friend of Wang Long's father, so he risked his life to come and deal with the powerful level 4 beast. Thank you, Uncle Bai. Wang Long was very grateful to this person. The other side. Chen Fan has arrived outside the golden two-headed lion's lair, and there are some warriors among his sons crouching nearby. Most of these warriors are good at hiding their auras. Their purpose is not to kill the golden two-headed lion, but to steal the elixir in the lair. This is a priceless thing. If it succeeds, it will definitely make a fortune and you will have no worries in this life. That's why countless people took the risk to come, even though they knew it was extremely dangerous. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps, and everyone saw a young and handsome boy walking directly towards the lair. Is this man crazy? The golden two-headed lion is now in the lair. We'd better leave quickly. If this level 4 ferocious beast gets angry, we will all die. Some people had already developed a desire to retreat and left the place quickly. There are also some people who love money more than their lives, and they are still squatting around, with shining eyes. Even if you don't risk your life, it's best to lure the golden two-headed lion away so that I can go in and steal the elixir. A warrior who looked a bit wretched had a sneer on his face, thinking that Chen Fan would definitely die. There are no rules here at all. What does it mean if one person dies? What's more, it's someone they don't know, so these warriors are very indifferent. Originally, this group of them wanted to get one person to die so that they could steal the elixir. Some of the people who stayed had the same idea, but they were all afraid of each other because they were all competitors. At this moment, Chen Fan had arrived at the lair, but before he could go deeper, a huge pressure came over him. Then the ground shook violently, like an earthquake. Tap tap tap. There was a loud noise inside, as if something huge had appeared. Not long after, a huge lion 10 meters high walked out of it. This giant lion had 2 heads and looked fierce. The chi and blood in his body were as thick as mercury slurry, and his body was like fine steel, invulnerable. Of course, the pressure he released also made people's hearts beat violently, and they could not help but feel fear in their hearts. Originally there were some people outside who wanted to steal the elixir, but now they were trembling with instinctive fear. Grandmaster level ferocious beasts are incomparable to ordinary ferocious beasts. They are on two different levels. Just like these martial arts masters are like ants compared to the real masters, who can be killed with a snap of their fingers. The golden two-headed lion, a level 4 ferocious beast, looks quite majestic. Chen Fan looked up at this huge level 4 ferocious beast and felt how majestic it would be if he could subdue a ferocious beast. But he just thought about it. These ferocious beasts are difficult to train. Even if they are subdued for a short time, they will suddenly explode and slaughter wildly. There was an incident like this. A powerful Grand Master tamed a ferocious beast and brought it to the city. The ferocious beast suddenly went berserk, causing the death of thousands of people. At that time, the news was overwhelmingly reporting that this great master also received a great punishment. He was sent to the front line and could not return to the city for life. Roar! The golden two-headed lion roared, which contained a burst of sonic power, as if it was about to tear a person's eardrums apart. The surrounding trees were making a rustling sound, and the warriors hiding around felt like their breathing had stopped. His whole body was hairy and his teeth were chattering uncontrollably. A sense of fatal danger emerged in their hearts. At this moment, they could not even move, as if their souls were frozen. Facing this astonishing roar, Chen Fan was breathing steadily. Come on, let me see the strength of the 4th level ferocious beast. Chen Fan took a deep breath, and then his breathing pattern began to change. Sun breathing technique. At this moment, Chen Fan's whole body was glowing, like a sun, with flames emerging from his body. Then Chen Fan swung around and disappeared instantly. After using the breathing method, its speed will become extremely astonishing, and it will rush directly in front of the golden two-headed lion. This terrifying level 4 ferocious beast stared at Chen Fan with a pair of cold eyes, and spurted red flames from its mouth. Chen Fan did not confront him head-on, but dodged the blow. Boom! The crimson flames fell on the ground and spread to 10 meters away. Some warriors hidden in the woods were immediately ignited and turned into pyromen rolling on the ground. But in just a few breaths, it turned into ashes. Seeing someone dead, Chen Fan's eyes were very calm. This group of people didn't know whether to live or die. They squatted outside and tried to take advantage. It was normal for them to be affected. And it was not him who killed the man, but this beast. It seems we have to fight quickly. The flames of this level 4 ferocious beast are too dangerous. Chen Fan thought about it secretly and decided to end the battle quickly. Seeing this terrifying ferocious beast, it immediately killed Chen Fan and let out another roar. Roar! He ran quickly on the ground and rushed towards Chen Fan, spitting flames from his mouth. At this moment, the warriors hiding in the dark had cold sweat on their foreheads. They couldn't leave even if they wanted to at this moment. The pressure of the level 4 ferocious beast was too terrifying. If they were affected again, they would probably end up with the same fate as the warrior just now. The terrifying flames raged, and red flames erupted in all directions, igniting the forest. But these flames did not touch the corners of Chen Fan's clothes because Chen Fan was too fast. Explosive punch. Chen Fan used the breathing method, coupled with the strongest martial arts he had mastered, and exploded without hesitation. Chen Fan's heart beat violently, and the energy and blood in his body exploded, almost turning into a red beam of light rising into the sky. At this moment, Chen Fan's body was burning with golden flames. This golden flame looked more terrifying than the red flame, giving people an unparalleled sense of oppression. Chen Fan clenched his fist tightly, gathered his strength, and turned into a fist seal and flew out with a bang. Boom! A terrifying bombardment fell on the golden two-headed lion. Bang! I saw this terrifying beast that was so majestic just now, but now it flew out like a rag and hit the stone wall hard, breaking the stone wall into pieces. Then the 4th level ferocious beast began to emit green smoke, his eyes dimmed, and his life was completely gone. The warriors hiding around saved their lives and breathed a sigh of relief. This is the Grand Master. To be able to kill a golden two-headed lion in an instant is probably the top master. Perhaps comparable to the Grand Master. The surrounding warriors were startled and looked at Chen Fan with awe in their eyes. In this era, the strong are always respected. These warriors left one after another after seeing Chen Fan's strength. Being able to kill a level 4 ferocious beast with one punch was not something they could afford to offend. Regardless of whether they are top masters or not, killing them is probably the same as squeezing an ant to death. After Chen Fan killed the golden two-headed lion, he opened his abdomen with his hands, took out a red ferocious beast crystal, and collected it. Chen Fan entered the depths of the lair. The place was very spacious. After all, it had to accommodate the huge body of the golden two-headed lion. Chen Fan saw a few snow-white lotus flowers inside, and he suddenly felt happy. This is the 4th level elixir white lotus. Chen Fan quickly picked out all these elixirs and put them in a box. Originally, Chen Fan thought that harvesting just one plant would be enough, but he didn't expect to harvest 5 plants. These are priceless things, enough to exchange for more powerful martial arts. Chen Fan had a smile on his face, then turned and walked outside. Outside the golden two-headed lion's lair, Wang Long came here with a group of people, but at this moment these people were on guard. Because there are traces of battle here, large tracts of woods are still burning with red flames, and thick smoke rises into the sky. Uncle Bai looked at the scene of destruction and said, "It seems that someone got there first. Only a master can cause such great damage." Wang Long frowned. "Master, what should we do?" A guard in his 30s asked. At this moment, Wang Long was also thinking in his heart, what should he do? Because this matter is very troublesome now, if someone gets there first, there is a high probability that he is also a master. If you want to snatch something from the other party, there is a high probability that the other party will not hand it over easily. Uncle Bai, are you sure you can deal with this Grand Master? Wang Long asked. Uncle Bai looked solemn and said, "Every Grand Master has his or her own strengths. I can't guarantee that I can defeat the opponent, but I can definitely protect you and leave safely." When Wang Long heard this, he felt confident. "Let's go in and take a look first. The rest of us will stay outside. No one can be allowed out." Wang Long ordered. "Yes, Master." The guards nodded one after another, and some of them stayed outside. As for Uncle Bai, he followed Wang Long closely and was responsible for protecting his safety. They walked into the den and didn't go far when they suddenly saw a corpse. It was a huge golden lion with 2 heads, but now its eyes dimmed. Although there is still a coercion released from his body, there is no life breath anymore. Half of his body seemed to be burned by something, and it looked like a fist mark. His stomach had also been cut open, and something seemed to have been taken away. Uncle Bai immediately stepped forward to check. Looking at the astonishing fist seal, he turned to Wang Long and said, "The master who took action is probably stronger than me, so it's best not to become his enemy." Wang Xiao's heart beat violently when he heard Uncle Bai's words, and then nodded. At the same time, deep in the lair, Chen Fan was very happy after collecting 5 white lotuses. But when he walked out, he suddenly saw a spiritual grass not far away, emitting red light, and his eyes suddenly became brighter. This is the 4th grade high-quality fire grass. Chen Fan was very excited. This thing was more precious than the 5 white lotuses he just had. White lotus can only be considered a 4th grade low-grade plant, and the price of 10 plants can be comparable to that of 1 high-grade plant. Chen Fan took down the flame grass and put it in an exquisite box, which he had prepared a long time ago. With this fire grass, maybe I can buy a B-level high-grade martial arts. Chen Fan originally thought that he could only exchange for low-grade B-level martial arts, but now he is filled with pride and it is completely different. I'm really looking forward to it. The powerful B-level martial arts will improve my strength. Chen Fan's eyes seemed to have lightning flashing across his eyes, giving people a sense of oppression that was even more powerful than that of an ordinary Grand Master. His current power of Qi and blood is not inferior to that of any master. In addition, he can also release his true energy. Although he is not a master, he is better than a master. Now Chen Fan is even more looking forward to the talent selection competition. The first place must be his, and anyone who dares to compete with him will be defeated. Chen Fan was in a good mood today. After calming down his aura, he walked outside. When he was about to reach the exit of the lair, Chen Fan suddenly saw a few shadows. It looked like someone had come in. But Chen Fan doesn't care. Now he doesn't want to kill anyone. Even the Grand Master will be defeated by him. This is his confidence as a strong man. Wang Long and Uncle Bai were walking and chatting at the moment. Uncle Bai, is the Grand Master who killed the golden two-headed lion really that powerful? Wang Long was very curious. Uncle Bai said, it's more terrifying than you think, but it doesn't look like the Master's hand. It looks like it was a single blow. The powerful force penetrated from the outside and shattered all the vitality of the golden two-headed lion. The other party doesn't seem to have used his true energy. What? Wang Long was startled. He was so terrifying even without using his true energy. Who is this person? It may also be a Grand Master, but a Grand Master should look down on level 4 ferocious beasts and would not come here specially. Uncle Bai was also full of doubts at this moment. I can't figure out in my heart who killed the golden two-headed lion. Could it be that a great master passed through this place, killed the beast and then left? Wang Long guessed. Uncle Bai felt that this was a possibility and nodded slightly. If it is true, although they failed to kill the golden two-headed lion, they were able to obtain the elixir inside. This can be regarded as an opportunity and saved a risk. After all, if you fight with a level 4 ferocious beast, you may be seriously injured or die. But at this moment, Bai Shiren raised his eyebrows and said, someone came out of it, but it was not the master. As a Grand Master, he can naturally sense whether the other party is a Grand Master. Is he the Grand Master? Wang Long asked. Uncle Bai shook his head and said, it feels very strange. He should be a martial artist, but his energy and blood are much stronger than those of ordinary martial arts masters. When Wang Long heard this, he showed a nonchalant expression on his face and said, Uncle Bai will trouble you later and snatch everything from him. Uncle Bai nodded. It was normal for a weak person to be robbed by a stronger person outside the city. There are no rules and regulations outside. Life and death are determined by fate, and wealth is determined by heaven. Soon, they saw a young figure in their sight. This man was slender, with no flaws on his face, and as handsome as a mythical figure. This boy is more handsome than the stars on TV, and he has a special temperament. When Wang Long's guards saw this man, their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Including Uncle Bai, who was already ready to take action. It's strange that this young man wants to come out of it. Is the opportunity here so easy to get? When Wang Long saw this young man, his pupils shrank and he showed a surprised expression. Do it. Uncle Bai waved his hand, signaling for the guards to take action. With his status, there is no need to take action immediately. Let the guards take action first. If the problem cannot be solved, he will take action. Etc. Wang Long saw his guards acting murderous, but he quickly stopped them. Don't do anything, I know him, you all get out of the way. Wang Long's sudden words made the guards look confused and restrained their murderous aura. Uncle Bai also showed a puzzled expression. Uncle Bai, I will explain it to you later. Get out of the way first. Wang Long expressed his apology to Uncle Bai. Good. This Grand Master restrained his energy and blood and did not intend to take action. Wang Long looked at the young man who appeared in front of him with awe in his heart. Chen Fan, we meet again. Then, he smiled and greeted Chen Fan. He is not stupid. Chen Fan went from being an ordinary person to becoming the #1 warrior in the examination. It would have been impossible without a chance. But he didn't expect that Chen Fan would dare to come to the golden two-headed lion's lair alone. Such courage deserves his respect. Moreover, Chen Fan's defeat of him made him feel better, and he was somewhat grateful in his heart. Of course, the more important thing is that he can no longer see through Chen Fan anymore, because when Chen Fan walked out, even though he saw so many people here, his expression didn't change at all. Or it's because Chen Fan is strong enough and not afraid of them. Either it's because Chen Fan has other trump cards, or there's someone behind it. Perhaps the big shot of killing the golden two-headed lion is inextricably related to Chen Fan. Of course, this is all Wang Long's guess. Wang Long. Chen Fan looked at Wang Long and was a little surprised. He didn't expect to meet this person from the same school outside. The other party was always outclassed by him in the beginning and could never surpass him in academic performance. Later, in the warrior assessment, he was directly crushed by him. You're getting stronger. Wang Long looked at Chen Fan with fear in his eyes. Although he wanted to surpass Chen Fan, he was indeed no match for Chen Fan now. Maybe it will be possible in the future, but definitely not now. What are you doing here? Chen Fan felt murderous intent just now, and it seemed that these people wanted to attack him. But it didn't matter to him. If they dared to take action, he wouldn't mind destroying these people. After all, this is a place without any rules. Killing people in the city requires life, but outside the city, even if you kill someone, as long as no one knows about it, there will be no problem. After all, it is normal for so many warriors to encounter powerful beasts and be killed every day. Although Chen Fan usually thinks that he has a pretty good temper, if he faces someone who wants to kill him, Chen Fan will never show any mercy. Chen Fan, you must have obtained the opportunity in the lair. Wang Long said straightforwardly. Chen Fan squinted his eyes, revealing a trace of murderous intent. Uncle Bai quickly stood in front of Wang Long. He could feel the strong evil aura on Chen Fan. Although Chen Fan hid it well, he could still feel it. Uncle Bai is fine, he and I are friends. Wang Long stepped forward with a smile. Grandmaster, L. Chen Fan felt the difference coming from the middle-aged man in front of him and knew the cultivation level of the man in front of him. But now he doesn't care very much, so what about the Grandmaster? If you dare to take what he has in his hand, he doesn't mind killing a Grandmaster today. Although he may not be able to kill him, Chen Fan is absolutely sure that he can leave calmly. This is a master sent by my father to protect me. He has no malicious intent. Wang Long quickly explained. He didn't want Uncle Chen Fan to take action, it would not do him any good. The murderous aura in Chen Fan disappeared and he said, then can I leave? Now he doesn't want to stay here any longer and wants to exchange for more powerful martial arts. Sure, Wang Long signaled that everyone should get out of the way quickly, leaving a path for Chen Fan to leave. Chen Fan saw that they really had no intention of taking action, so he walked past them calmly. Chen Fan, I hope you can get a good ranking in this talent selection competition and win glory for Jinling. Wang Long waved and shouted from behind. Chen Fan turned around with firm eyes and said calmly, the first place this time will also be mine. Anyone who dares to compete with me will be defeated by me. When Chen Fan said this, the golden sunshine fell on his body, making him look like a person walking out of a painting from a distance. It's like a world-famous painting at this moment. Everyone was finally shocked by Chen Fan's bold words. Even Uncle Bai thought he had made a mistake. After saying this, he dared to turn around and leave without hesitation, disappearing from everyone's sight. Wang Long looked at the direction Chen Fan left with respect in his eyes. It took him a long time to come back to his senses. As expected, as a genius who is more powerful than me, his ambition is also greater than mine. Wang Long sighed. He also heard that in this talent selection competition, there might be master-level geniuses. Chen Fan dared to say such words. From this, we can see how confident he is. Anyway, he didn't have the courage to say such a thing. Chen Fan, is he the first in the warrior assessment? Uncle Bai asked. Wang Long nodded. It's him. The surrounding guards showed shocked expressions. They have all heard about this time. The warrior assessment was extremely fierce, and geniuses from 36 cities participated. In such a fierce assessment, winning first place is indeed worthy of respect. Master, I heard that he has an ordinary talent. Is this true? One of the guards asked. It is true. Wang Long naturally felt that there was no need to hide these things, after all, they had already spread. When Uncle Bai heard that it was an ordinary talent, he immediately lost interest. He originally thought it was just a rumor, but if it was really an ordinary talent, its potential was too limited. It's a pity that a good young man is missing, otherwise, he might become a great master. Wang Long heard Uncle Bai's words and said, you still underestimate him too much. At the beginning, I also felt that his ordinary talent could not make any waves. But the fact is that I was crushed. He is a miracle worker. Such a person has unlimited potential. Although I also think in my heart that one day I will be able to surpass him, my intuition tells me that this is just my delusion. Especially after meeting him today, I completely understood the gap between him and me. Quote. Uncle Bai was a little surprised. He had never heard Wang Long comment on a person like this. It seemed that he really admired and respected this person. Young master, you think too highly of him. He is just an ordinary talent. He is not worthy at all. If he wants to win glory for our Jinling, Feng Chengtian should be allowed to go. One of the guards stubbornly believed that talent was everything, because his excellent talent could not compare to elite-level talent. Therefore, in his understanding, if the talent is not good enough, it is useless. Wang Long sneered when he heard this, pointed at the corpse of a level 4 ferocious beast not far away, and said, "If you have an ordinary talent, can you kill a level 4 ferocious beast?" The guard was immediately silenced. He looked at the corpse of a level 4 ferocious beast and felt uneasy, let alone trying to deal with such a ferocious beast. If he really wanted to do it, he would be scared to death. This level 4 ferocious beast may not have been killed by him, but by the expert behind him. Uncle Bai said. He didn't believe Chen Fan had this strength at all, but he still agreed in his heart that there should be a strong person behind Chen Fan. Wang Long did not talk much about this issue. Regardless of whether Chen Fan killed it or not, the beast was dead anyway. Uncle Bai, do you think there are people who can hide their talents? Wang Long suddenly asked. Uncle Bai thought for a while and said, talent cannot be hidden unless he awakens twin talents. Wang Long nodded thoughtfully when he heard these words. In the past, he actually couldn't understand why Chen Fan became so powerful all of a sudden. But now he seems to have figured it out. Chen Fan's ordinary talent may really be just one of his 2 talents, and the remaining talent is not revealed. It is said that Chen Fan is destined to become a joke in the talent selection competition because he is exposed to the sun every day. It seems that these are all rumors. Wang Long sighed. They feel that the current Chen Fan is much better than the Chen Fan who was in the warrior assessment competition, and a look at him will give him unspeakable pressure. The other guards were all silent. Chen Fan returned to Nanchang smoothly. There was also Bida Trading Company here, and Chen Fan strode among them. Bida Commercial Bank is more luxuriously decorated and very lively. A large number of warriors come here to exchange money or precious items. There was even a queue of hundreds of people. If you wanted to change something, you had to queue up obediently. And there is only one staff member here, who seems very busy. Chen Fan did not wait in line honestly, but went forward to ask first. Hello, is your manager here? The receptionist is also a young and beautiful woman. She is helping customers exchange items and estimating their prices. When he heard Chen Fan's question, he didn't even raise his eyes and ignored it completely. Young people should queue up at the back honestly. Don't always think about finding the manager. If you think it's relevant, you can go through the back door. Someone in the crowd said, feeling that Chen Fan was a bit sensational. There are many people looking for a manager every day, but the Bida manager in Nanchang is a very busy man and talks about big business. How can he come out easily? When Chen Fan heard this, he felt a little unhappy. He took out a red beast crystal directly from his arms, placed it on the table, and said, "Can your manager come out with this thing?" The receptionist, who didn't take it seriously at first, immediately widened his eyes when he saw the blood-red crystal. This is a level 4 ferocious beast crystal. The receptionist was shocked. The only person who could kill such a ferocious beast was the Grand Master. Most of the people lining up here are martial artists, and only a few people are martial artists. The things they take are naturally not too precious to Bida Trading Company. But the value of what a young master brings out is too high. By the way, there are these. Chen Fan took out a few more elixirs and placed them on the table, where the fragrance of the medicine spread. The eyes of those waiting in line almost popped out of their heads, looking at the items on the table and wanting to grab them. The warrior who just thought Chen Fan wanted to use the back door was now a little frightened. He didn't expect that the young-looking boy in front of him could actually come up with these things. Or if he has connections in the family, he can ask the master to accompany him to hunt ferocious beasts and obtain elixirs. Either the young man in front of me is a master. No matter what kind of relationship, he can't afford to offend. I'm sorry, it was my fault for being mean-mouthed just now. Pop! The warrior slapped himself twice, and the sound spread in all directions, and everyone present could hear it. Get out! Chen Fan waved his hand impatiently. Thanks. The warrior who just mocked Chen Fan hurriedly left this place rolling and crawling. The other warriors around looked at Chen Fan with eyes full of respect and fear. If the person in front of them is really a young master, his future achievements may be limitless. It is their great fortune to be able to see such a genius with their own eyes. Sir, please wait, I'll call the manager right away. The phone call at the front desk briefly explained what happened here. It didn't take long for the manager here to come out. The manager was a woman who looked to be about 30 years old. She was wearing a fitted black dress, black stockings and a pair of high heels. Dear guest, do you want to sell something? The beautiful manager looked at the items on the table. Her tone and attitude were extremely respectful. Yes, Chen Fan said. This is not the place to talk. Please come with me. The beautiful manager had a professional smile on her face, showing her neat and white teeth. Good. Chen Fan followed the beautiful manager to the place where Bida Commercial Bank was entertaining people. Everything here is finely decorated, the walls are covered with exquisite white slates, and beautiful flower patterns are painted on the slates. The beautiful manager personally poured a cup of tea for Chen Fan and delivered it to Chen Fan. Dear guest, I wonder if you want to exchange these things for money or things. The beautiful manager started to get to the point. How much are these worth? Chen Fan also wanted to know the value of these things. The beautiful manager introduced. As for the elixir, the price of 5 plants is about 50 million, and the 4th level ferocious beast crystal can be worth 20 million. Listening to such a quotation, Chen Fan felt that the money came too easily. A poor man of letters and a rich man of martial arts, with his strength, he can get so much money by killing a ferocious beast once. Of course, Chen Fan also had a more precious elixir, but he didn't take it out immediately. If I want to exchange these things for B-level martial arts, is that enough? Chen Fan took a sip of tea and then asked lightly. The beautiful manager nodded without hesitation and said, it is enough to be able to exchange for B-level low-grade martial arts. Chen Fan heard the satisfactory answer, and then took out a box and opened it. There was a red elixir inside, and there was even a faint flame on it. Fire flame grass. Even the beautiful manager was shocked when she saw this elixir. This kind of thing has a price but no market. The lowest price is 100 million, and it may not be available at auction. Can this be exchanged for a more powerful B-level martial arts, such as top grade? Chen Fan asked. What he wants now is top grade B-level martial arts, and he doesn't like the others very much. If you want to exchange for top grade B-level martial arts, you have to add everything together. The beautiful manager answered truthfully. You know, top grade B-level martial arts are priced uniformly, and the prices are ridiculously high. Chen Fan nodded and prepared to change without hesitation. These things are all external things to him. What is more important now is to obtain more powerful martial arts. Dear guest, but I have one thing to tell you. B-level martial arts are not allowed to be taught to others privately. Although these things can be exchanged, there are strict regulations on the martial arts you practice. Once you teach it to others privately, if so, they will be held accountable. The beautiful manager informed Chen Fan with a serious look. Chen Fan did not show any surprise at this, because he knew that martial arts of this level were created by powerful men. The descendants of those strong men can obtain wealth that ordinary people cannot imagine just from the income from selling martial arts. Moreover, this wealth is a steady stream and is used to strengthen the family. They use money or things to buy, but they only buy the right to use it, and they have no qualifications to teach others. Don't worry, I'm just practicing on my own. Chen Fan said he knew. The beautiful manager then took a tablet next to her, moved it a few times, and then placed it in front of Chen Fan. These are B-level high-grade martial arts. You can choose them yourself. Chen Fan took the tablet and began to choose martial arts. Destruction sword technique, floating palm. Chen Fan started to choose martial arts, but he was a little dazzled, because each of these martial arts looked very powerful. The power of the destruction sword technique can be increased up to 4 times, but a sword must be used, which is another additional expense. There are other martial arts that also have their own strengths and various superimposed effects. For example, Futu Palm can make people temporarily stiff and fall into paralysis. Chen Fan hesitated for a moment, and finally chose the last B-level high-grade martial arts he saw. Crazy Sun Fist. This martial art can increase the power by up to 5 times, but its shortcoming is also obvious, that is, it has no other special effects. Bring me this book. Chen Fan handed the tablet to the beautiful manager. The beautiful manager nodded, left the place, and soon came over with a book and handed it into Chen Fan's hands. Please burn it after practicing, the beautiful manager informed Chen Fan. Chen Fan nodded to express that he understood, and then left the place. Welcome to your next visit. The beautiful manager sent Chen Fan out and then bowed. Chen Fan left without looking back, then left Nanchang by car, returned home, and reported to his family that he was safe. Then sit at the table and have lunch. I have to say that my mother's cooking skills are good. Chen Fan never gets tired of eating. He ate 3 large bowls of rice and then returned to the room. After arriving in the room, Chen Fan began to practice Guangyang Fist. This is the most terrifying martial art he has mastered now. When he opened the book, his eyes immediately lit up. Crazy Sun Fist, the ultimate increase in combat power. One force can defeat all kinds of magic. It can mobilize one's own strength to a large extent and deliver a fatal blow. There were a lot of introductions here, and Chen Fan didn't bother to read more, so he started to watch how to get started with cultivation. Since the level of this martial arts was quite high, it took Chen Fan 3 full days to finally practice it to perfection. After cultivating to perfection, Chen Fan felt hot all over his body, feeling like a volcano that might erupt at any time. Chen Fan could even feel that his muscles and bones had become tighter. The true energy in the body flows faster. The faster the true energy flows, the faster the body is tempered. But Chen Fan also felt that the pain in his muscles began to intensify, and there was a feeling of being tempered all over his body. But Chen Fan was very happy, because he felt that practicing like this was a pleasure, and he felt extremely comfortable. He let out a soft breath and walked out of the room. There was hot food on the table, which was obviously reserved for him. After Chen Fan stepped forward to eat some food, he left home and headed outside the city. Arriving at the second level area of Star City, Chen Fan saw that the machine for testing combat power was still there. He did not use martial arts, but simply burst out with strength and punched the machine. Didi. The numbers on the machine flashed crazily, finally settling on 1.2 million. The power is getting stronger again. Chen Fan's own basic combat strength increased by 200,000 without knowing it. Although he has now broken through the first level and reached the 8th level of martial arts, it is more due to the tempering of true energy. This made Chen Fan understand that practicing higher level martial arts would have many benefits for him. Not only did his true energy flow faster, but it also grew stronger. Chen Fan ran the breathing method, and there were bursts of whistling sounds in the air, and then he punched the machine. Boom! When Chen Fan punched out, his palm was instantly covered with a layer of golden flames, and this flame carried an extremely violent aura. Bang! The expensive machine suddenly made a crackling sound, and the numbers on it kept beating, and finally disappeared completely and dimmed. The machine was damaged by Chen Fan's punch. I almost forgot in the heat of the moment. The maximum combat power here can be tested as 2 million. What Chen Fan had just used was the Guangyang Fist, but he didn't expect that this blow would actually damage the machine. Chen Fan looked around and saw that no one was around, and quickly left the place. Anyway, this machine is here just for testing, so it should be fine if it breaks. Chen Fan was also very satisfied with the Guangyang Fist. He didn't use all his strength just now. He only used about half of the strength of the Guangyang Fist, and he had already exceeded 2 million combat power. It is indeed a martial arts at the Grand Master level, and its growth rate is truly terrifying. Not long after Chen Fan left this place, the same group of staff from last time came again. They were talking and laughing, but when they saw the damaged machine, they suddenly had a headache and hurriedly reported it to the superiors. They were a little speechless. The one who could destroy the machine was probably a Grand Master. Why would a Grand Master come to the second level area for nothing? It's really too leisurely. Chen Fan returned home and basked in the sun for several days. One day, his cell phone suddenly rang. Chen Fan immediately clicked on his phone. There was a message on the phone, which was specially sent to him. Chen Fan clicked on this message, and a line of text appeared above it. Classmate Chen Fan, the talent selection competition is about to begin. Please go to the Northern Mountains to take part in the assessment and arrive as soon as possible within 3 days. This was given to him by his school teacher. Is it finally starting? Chen Fan had an expectant expression on his face. Let them go to the mountains, probably to kill ferocious beasts outside the real city. This is really interesting. Of course, what Chen Fan wants most is to compete with other geniuses, especially geniuses who have reached Grandmaster level. At the same time, Feng family. Feng Chengtian also received the news immediately. A terrifying force of energy and blood erupted from his body, and countless strong winds emerged around him, moving at will. I have been waiting for the day of the talent selection competition for a long time. Other geniuses also received the news one after another. Bai Chuyu, who was practicing, opened her eyes, left the Bai family with a smile on her face, and began to head towards the northern mountains. Of course, in addition to the 7 geniuses from the 36 cities of Jinling, there were also geniuses from other cities who received the news. Look at the capital city. Xuanyuan family. This city is so huge that the area of one city is equivalent to the total of the 36 cities of Jinling. In a room, there was a young man with short black hair sitting. This young man's face looked very ordinary, but when he opened his eyes, he gave people an indescribable sense of oppression. Around it, there is red true energy bursting out and flowing from the body. The true energy is released. This is the sign of a master. Has the talent selection started? The young grandmaster took away the phone and looked at the message on it, then put the phone aside. Someone, prepare a car. The door was opened, and a group of bodyguards dressed in black stood outside. Yes, Master Xuanyuan Wei. An old man stepped forward and nodded respectfully. He was the butler of the Xuanyuan family. Zhongnan Mansion. There are also 36 cities in total. The 36 cities of Jinling can be considered one of them, but compared with other cities, although the territory of Jinling is not small, there have been no overly amazing geniuses in the past dynasties. Most of them shine brightly for a while, and then quickly fall away, as if there is some kind of magic spell. The strongest genius who appeared in Jinling had the highest achievement of being a grandmaster. In other cities, there have been powerful men and generals above the level of grandmaster. Therefore, the cultivation resources obtained by Jinling in the entire Zhongnan prefecture are the least. After all, for a place without too many geniuses, there is no need to invest so many cultivation resources. Baiyun City. This is the top 3 city in Zhongnan prefecture, and it is said that there have already been 2 town general level beings. In a luxurious mansion, the decoration here is exquisite and majestic, just like an ancient palace, very stylish. This is the territory of the Murong family, the head of the 3 major families in Baiyun City. Everyone in Baiyun City knows that Baiyun returns to Murong. Since the Murong family is the head of the 3 major families, all the lords of the city have been named Murong. The 10 geniuses from Baiyun City who participated in the talent selection competition were all from the Murong family. At this moment, 9 young geniuses from the Murong family gathered here and chatted. Are there any dazzling talents in Zhongnan Mansion recently? Aren't these the only ones coming back and forth? Xuanyuan Wei from the Xuanyuan family, Ji Yulong from the Ji Yu family, and Qingfeng Wangyu from the Qingfeng family. You're right, but those are just freaks, there's no need to compare with them. When talking about these names, these geniuses had expressions of fear in their eyes, as if these names were taboo. Because these people they are talking about are all young masters. You must know that it is not difficult for geniuses like them to break through and become a master. But those who can break through at this age are some of the most evil monsters, who are much stronger than geniuses like them. These people may become famous generals in the future and look down on them. Stop talking about these monsters, it's too shocking. Talk about other geniuses. Murong Jun quickly changed the topic. This young man was wearing purple clothes and had soft and messy black hair. He looked a little childish and a little thin. But when he finished saying this, the other Murong family members were very obedient and stopped talking about this issue. Murong Jun is the second genius of the Murong family. Although he is not as good as the first genius, the other children of the Murong family respect him very much. Brother, I heard that a genius appeared in Wangdu City this time. It is said that he is about to break through and become a master. It seems that he is not from the Xuanyuan family. Someone spoke. What's your name? Murong Jun asked. Called Zhang Tian. The Murong family member thought for a while and then said the name. It's interesting. I hope I can meet him during the talent selection. Murong Jun nodded slightly with a smile on his face. He is a genius at this level, but if he wants to break through and become a master, he is still only half a step away. But this half step is like a chasm, and it takes time to accumulate before he can step into this realm. But those top geniuses don't have this restriction. Speaking of genius, I thought of a nice anecdote. A young man in gray clothes stood up, licked his lips and said, "What's interesting?" Others asked, interested. "Wait for me to drink water." The young man in gray took a sip of water first, which whetted everyone's appetite. Seeing everyone's impatience, he slowly spoke. "It's Jinling. Do you know who ranks first in this Jinling warrior assessment? In that remote country, who would pay attention to their ranking first in the martial arts assessment? I can knock down their number 1 player with one hand." The talented children of the Murong family completely looked down on the people of Jinling, comparing it to a real backcountry, and no one took it seriously. And they do have this qualification. Because of the geniuses from the Murong family, some people join the 10 university palaces every year and achieve extremely high achievements. Jinling, in the eyes of geniuses like them, is a place that cannot be put on the stage. Do you know what's the most ridiculous thing? The first place in the martial arts assessment in Jinling this year is an ordinary talent. The boy in gray clothes laughed heartily. There was silence for a while, and then the geniuses from the Murong family all started laughing. Ha ha ha, it really made me laugh to death. Jinling is becoming more and more in decline. Ordinary talents can get first place. If a bodyguard from my Murong family goes there, he can also get first place. These geniuses were all laughing from ear to ear. This was the funniest joke they had heard this year. Even Murong Jun couldn't help but chuckle, with a sarcastic expression in his eyes. Jinling is really a place full of trash. A few years ago, there was a guy named Zhang Ai, who was blown away by them. The sky is full of hype, but now even the Grandmaster has not made a breakthrough. The other Murong family geniuses also nodded in agreement. If you ask me, Jinling should be removed from our Zhongnan prefecture and integrated into other cities. Wouldn't everyone be happy? I think what you said, the 36 remote villages in Oris Hill, shouldn't exist in the first place. Fortunately, these losers won't leave Zhongnan Mansion, otherwise they might make people in other places laugh. This group of young geniuses talks so loudly that they don't care if anyone else hears them. If you ask me, I will inform the other geniuses in the group that when the time comes, let them eliminate Jinling first to avoid embarrassment. The boy in gray said with a smile, with a hint of cruelty in his eyes. These geniuses have established some groups, because most of the geniuses have known each other since childhood. For example, the Murong family, the Xuanyuan family, the Qingfeng family, etc. have all been friends since they were young. This is a good idea, brother 2, go to the group and notify other people and remove them. The other Murong family geniuses all agreed. Murong Jun also acquiesced and nodded. They are just a bunch of trash, not worthy of participating in any talent selection competition, or even entering the talent training camp. Brother Jun, I will send a message right now. Murong 2, a young man in gray clothes, took out his mobile phone to edit the message and send it to the group. Soon, the other geniuses also received the message, with disdainful smiles on their faces. Agree, eliminate those losers in Jinling. Don't let them disgrace our Zhongnan mansion. With a rubbish ordinary talent, participating in the talent tryout with him is an insult to me. Don't let me meet this Chen Fan, otherwise I will make him regret being born in this world. Murong 2 looked at the messages in the group with an even brighter smile on his face. Jinling is a city rich in waste and should not exist in the first place. The other side, next to the high-speed rail. A group of heroic young girls are queuing up to get on the bus. There are several examiners here, and these examiners have true energy flowing outside their bodies, so they are obviously masters. They were sent by Zhongnan Palace Master to personally pick up this group of geniuses and go to the assessment site. Qingfeng Wangyu is here. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the crowd. A beautiful woman walked slowly from not far away. She was dressed in red. She had a slender figure, skin like snow, and a cold feeling on her beautiful face. Her eyes were like amber, very bright and clear. Seeing this woman, the group of geniuses gave way and allowed this person to board the high-speed train first. Even several examiners couldn't help showing expressions of wonder when they saw this woman. Young Grandmaster, you are so enviable. The Qingfeng family has had young masters throughout the ages. To become a master at such a young age, your future is boundless and extraordinary. The examiners discussed and allowed this privilege. It seems that Jinling will be at the bottom again this time. It is said that there was a top-notch wind talent there, but he ended up ranking second. If the first place was given to the top extraordinary wind talent, they might be able to achieve certain results, and they wouldn't become a joke in other cities in Jiangnan Prefecture. I really don't know what those people think. Quote. A female examiner shook her head and said she was not optimistic about Jinling at all, even with a hint of ridicule. The other assessors did not speak, acquiescing to what the female assessor said. When all the geniuses entered the high-speed train, the white high-speed train began to gallop into the distance like a roaring white dragon. Jinling, Star City. There were a lot of figures standing at the gate of the community. Chen Fan has a bright future. You have a great baby. This is the community where Chen Fan lives. Knowing that Chen Fan was going to participate in the talent selection competition, they all took the initiative to see him off and smiled and said good things. Chen Fan's father and Chen's mother also felt that their faces were very bright. During this period, people in the community were very kind to them, and even seemed to be fawning. They knew that it was all because of their son that he got the first place in the warrior examination. Chen Shui, your brother is so awesome. My dad said that from now on I will be half as good as your brother, so he will buy me a remote control plane to play with. There is also a woman next to Chen Shui, who looks about the same age as her, has bright eyes and white teeth, and is wearing a white dress. This is her best friend. Chen Shui heard what her best friend said and said, that's natural. He is my brother after all. There was also a feeling of great pride in her heart. Chen Fan, I heard rumors that you have been basking in the sun during this time, but I don't believe it. You have to work hard to get ahead in this talent selection competition and shut up those who spread rumors. Principal Wang stood beside Chen Fan with a serious look on his face. Chen Fan, you are the most powerful student I have ever taught. You must use practical actions to let those who spread rumors know how ridiculous your words are. Zhang Zhengguo also stood next to Principal Wang, encouraging Chen Fan. Chen Fan smiled and said, don't worry, I will win the Jiangnan Prefecture trials this time. After practicing powerful martial arts, Chen Fan is now extremely confident. At this moment, a business bus with a banner of Genius Selection Camp came from not far away. Mom and Dad, I'm leaving, please take care of yourself. And Chen Shui, please write and study well during this time, and don't let your parents worry about it. Chen Fan waved goodbye to his family and then boarded the bus in front of everyone. The bus restarted and then drove away. Chen Fan boarded the bus and was driven by a driver wearing white gloves who was expressionless and focused on driving. There is a middle-aged man at the front, who should be the assessor leading the team this time. But when Chen Fan entered here, he found that in addition to the examiner, there were also figures with terrifying energy and blood sitting here. These people are all young men, full of vitality, but the power of their blood is terrifyingly powerful. All of them are martial arts masters, and many of them are late-stage martial arts masters, that is, martial masters at the 7th level or above. Just sitting there, these geniuses make people feel a little restless. But this doesn't have much impact on Chen Fan. After all, he is now more powerful than everyone in the car. When Chen Fan came to the back of the car, he discovered that there was an empty seat, and the people sitting behind it were all their Jinling geniuses. Chen Fan, sit here. Bai Chuyu greeted Chen Fan with a smile. Chen Fan nodded and sat down, looking at the people beside him. They included Sikong Yan, Lu Sheng, Ying Baiqi, a young man Chen Fan didn't recognize, and a genius with an indifferent face, who was closing his eyes to rest. And this indifferent genius is Feng Changtian. Chen Fan could sense that in the entire car, except for Feng Changtian, whose aura was not inferior to those of the geniuses, everyone else seemed to be slightly worse than these geniuses. They are all geniuses, even if there is a small gap, they will be surpassed by other geniuses. Feng Changtian, because he has improved a lot during this period of time, is among the top geniuses in the car, and is almost as good as anyone. Chen Fan, do you think we can get a good ranking in the talent selection competition this time? Ying Baiqi asked. Although he and Chen Fan were not familiar with each other, they came from the same place after all. Are you upset? Chen Fan glanced at Ying Baiqi and shook his head. Ying Baiqi lowered his head slightly. He originally thought that he was a genius and was the best even in the talent selection camp. Otherwise, why would he be allowed to participate in this kind of competition? But before the competition started, he knew that Jinling's genius was too weak. Except for Feng Chengtian and Chen Fan, who seemed unafraid of the geniuses in the car, the rest of them felt unspeakable pressure. It seems that everyone here is stronger than them, completely shattering the arrogance of their genius. When the other geniuses in the car first saw Chen Fan, their eyes lit up. After all, Chen Fan is really handsome, he has a unique temperament, and his appearance is really eye-catching. Moreover, even the geniuses couldn't see through Chen Fan's aura. Chen Fan looked relaxed when he looked at them, as if he didn't feel any pressure at all. But when they saw Chen Fan walking towards the group of people in Jinling, the eyes of these geniuses began to relax. Especially after hearing Chen Fan's name, some geniuses with serious eyes showed disdainful smiles on their faces. It seems that he despises the people of Jinling. In their eyes, Jinling is a remote country. Although it is said to be subdivided into 36 cities, in their eyes, it is like 36 villages, which is a complete joke. As for Chen Fan, they had heard that he was just a waste, with an ordinary talent. Thanks to his rich body and powerful body, he suppressed all the geniuses in Jinling and won the first place. This is a joke. The other people in Jinling are all a bunch of rubbish, none of them are worthy of the spotlight. This time he is destined to be eliminated first. The bus arrived at the station and stopped. At this moment, the leading assessor standing in front opened his eyes and said, "Get off the car and follow me. Let's go and take the high-speed train." The geniuses stood up one after another, followed the examiner step by step, and got on the high-speed train again. They didn't even have to wait, because there was no one else here, and the high-speed rail was the only seat reserved for geniuses like them. This was the special treatment of the talent selection competition. However, upon entering the high-speed train, Chen Fan and the others immediately felt a more terrifying aura. Because there are geniuses from other places here, and the aura of these geniuses is even more terrifying. Young Grandmaster, Bai Chuyu, who had blue hair and outstanding temperament, suddenly opened her beautiful eyes and looked at the person in front of her. The man was a handsome young man, dressed in black. He was concentrating with his eyes closed. There was white qi flowing on his body, giving people an extremely terrifying sense of oppression. Just like a sheep meeting a lion, the feeling of fear is difficult to suppress. "It's Ji Yu Long," some of the geniuses who came with Chen Fan and the others exclaimed, looking at this young man with awe. Feng Chengtian's divine beast had not changed much at first, but now, his pupils suddenly shrank, revealing an extremely fearful expression. The word, Grandmaster, was like a huge mountain pressing on him. He was sure of surpassing Chen Fan, but not sure of facing the young Grandmaster. Only Chen Fan looked calm, feeling very calm when facing the Grandmaster. Chen Fan and the others found a seat in the car and sat down, but their hearts could not calm down for a long time. These people are among the best geniuses in Jinling, but compared with the entire Zhongnan mansion, they are like a bunch of country bumpkins. If you find anyone at random, their aura is stronger than most of them. Especially Bai Chuyu, it was the most difficult for her to accept it at this moment. She has been a proud girl since she was a child, and she attracts attention wherever she goes. But here, she is just the most ordinary genius, not dazzling. Compared with the young master, she is more like a waste. The other party is not even qualified to face it. Can we really shine in the talent selection competition? Bai Chuyu felt extremely disappointed. Other geniuses are no better. So what about the young master? You haven't participated in the selection yet, and you are all dejected. It's really embarrassing. Feng Chengtian snorted coldly. Although he was shocked in his heart, he quickly came to his senses. After all, he is a top extraordinary talent, and he will become a grandmaster sooner or later. Chen Fan didn't say a word. He leaned against the window and looked at the scenery. It seemed that he didn't take this matter to heart at all. Bai Chuyu raised her head and glanced at Chen Fan, then moved her eyes to the young grandmaster in front, and finally sighed, "This time we at Jinling will probably be at the bottom again." Only after leaving Jinling did I realize how much they were looking at the sky from a well. There is so much talent out there. They originally thought that this time they would be among the best, even if they were not at the top, but now it seems that this is a delusion. She even felt that Chen Fan would not be able to shine again this time, and would probably become an ordinary genius. The high-speed train stopped again after traveling for a certain distance. Another group of geniuses came up and each found a seat to sit down. There are even a few among this group of geniuses, and the power of qi and blood of a few of them is even greater than that of Feng Chengtian. There are already more than 400 people on the high-speed train, but that's not all. I don't know how long it took to travel, but there were 1,000 geniuses sitting on the high-speed train. Although they are all in different carriages of the high-speed train, they can still feel the powerful energy in blood. The energy of some geniuses is strong enough, like a big furnace, and can be easily sensed. Especially the master-level geniuses are even more awe-inspiring. After driving for another 2 hours, the high-speed train slowly stopped, and the examiner leading the team began to let everyone off in an organized manner. We've arrived at our destination. You all line up and get off the bus one by one. The geniuses stood up one after another and began to line up to wait to get off the bus. When everyone walked out of the high-speed train, they came to a huge square. This was an oval square with a large number of people around it, who had already arrived here in advance. They are all young geniuses, and a few of them are particularly eye-catching because their aura is particularly powerful. One of them is a woman wearing a red dress, with a beautiful appearance and red energy flowing around her body. There was also a young man with an indifferent face. He had an aura of nobility and countless people gathered around him to compliment him. These two people are Qingfeng Wangyu and Xuanyuan Wei. But at this moment, the crowd suddenly gave way to a path, and a tall young man walked out. This young man has sharp eyes and gives off an extremely dangerous feeling. He seems to be more terrifying than other young masters. Murong Xingqian, you're a little late, Xuanyuan Wei said. Murong Xingqian, with an unruly look on his face, smiled and said, what's the use of coming here early? You're not all my foil. He was extremely confident in his words and didn't care about the feelings of other geniuses at all. But no one dared to stand up and say anything. This is the #1 genius of the Murong family. It is said that he has killed 3 ferocious beasts at the master level and has a truly ferocious reputation. When Chen Fan looked at this person, he was slightly moved because he felt that this Murong Xingqian was more dangerous than the grandmaster he had met before. The person in front of me is probably more terrifying than what everyone has seen. You are still as loud as ever. Qingfeng Wangyu was dressed in a red dress, with an extraordinary aura, like a goddess walking out of the sky, attracting the attention of countless geniuses. Sister Wangyu, if you say this again, I won't hold back during the assessment later. Murong Xingqian had white qi flowing in his body. Qingfeng Wangyu smiled disdainfully. They were all master-level geniuses, and she didn't think she was weaker than anyone. Ji Yulong soon joined the conversation. Although they were competitors, they had known each other for a long time. Several master geniuses have their own circles, and other geniuses also have their own circles, and they all gather together to discuss. On this huge square, there are dozens of planes parked in front of it. There are cameras everywhere and countless surveillance equipment. At this moment, a helicopter slowly took off, the door of the helicopter opened, and a woman in military uniform stood on it. This woman also has true energy flowing through her body and is obviously a master. Quiet. The woman stood on the helicopter, jumped from above, landed on the ground, and landed on the stone platform in the middle of the square. Everyone's eyes focused on this female grandmaster. Let me introduce myself. I am one of the assessors presiding over this selection, Zhang Meng. This selection will be as cruel as ever. Most of you will be eliminated. What we want are real geniuses. If you don't have enough strength, you will not be qualified to enter the talent training camp. Now let me briefly explain the rules. First, by taking these helicopters, you can leave the square and truly enter the northern mountains. Your mission is to hunt the ferocious beasts and successfully stay there for a day and a night. Second, you will get points for killing ferocious beasts. The number of points will be determined according to the strength of the ferocious beast. You will be given a smartwatch to wear before entering. After killing the ferocious beast, the points you get will be automatically recorded. You must get 1000 points to pass the level. Of course you can also compete with each other, as long as you can come out in time. Quote. After hearing the first two rules, most geniuses felt a little uneasy and began to be wary of their friends. In this talent selection competition, most people will be eliminated, and they may not be betrayed by their friends. Especially those who can compete with each other for points, we must be vigilant about this. Third, this is also the most important point. If you feel that the beast inside is too dangerous, please ring the alarm on your watch immediately and we will send someone to pick you out. Don't think about forcing yourself to hold on. This is a trial, not a child's play. If you insist on holding on, even if you die inside, your self-death will be in vain and your family will be sad. Quote. I have finished speaking. Someone will send the watch to you shortly. When you receive the watch, you must sign the contract. If there are no other problems, you can board the plane and enter the mountains now. If any of you are scared, you can get up and leave now. The assessor Zhang Meng explained the rules and the content of this selection. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.